Chapter 1082. Luo Feng had roamed the universe for close to 100,000 years. This was his first time meeting other golden horned beasts, and one time he met over 10 of them. Brother. Welcome back, brother. The 10 golden horned beasts swiftly flew closer. At the same time, their powerful voices resounded. Brother wandering the universe, welcome home. Golden horned Luo Feng could only welcome them with Zhen. Zhen immediately roared. I've already received orders to bring him here. Since your golden horned beasts are here, I'll leave him to you. Go. Leave it to us. Leave everything to us. The 10 golden horned beast warriors all said. Zhen nodded and smiled at Luo Feng, after which he became a beam of light and flew away. And golden horned Luo Feng was surrounded by 10 golden horned beasts. This group of golden horned beasts were all very passionate. They had all roamed the universe alone for eons before being accepted into the alliance. Hence, towards every member of the same race that had just returned, the seniors would always be very sincere and passionate. I'm Fan Knight. I'm Shanwen Knight. I'm Sujin Knight. Their names were all different. After all, every golden horned beast had their own unique experiences wandering the universe. They had long given themselves names. The normal knight titles were all different too. Golden horned Luo Feng faced the passion of this group of golden horned beasts. He could only say, I'm Gold Peak Knight. Haha, Gold Peak Knight, welcome home. Reaching the Universe Knight level for the first time to return to the Alliance, it's already very rare. To be able to train to the Universe Knight level alone, Gold Peak Knight, my brother, your talent is really strong. With the Alliance's help, you'll definitely become stronger. Golden horned Luo Feng occasionally spoke beside. However, within he really liked the atmosphere. These golden horned beasts were naturally cold and bloodthirsty. However, this bloodthirst was only towards other races. Meeting other space beasts, they would feel a sense of closeness. When meeting their own race, they would feel a sense of closeness from their bloodlines. Legend has it that the Space Beast Alliance is very mysterious. Internally, they are extremely united. No wonder. Golden-horned Luo Feng sighed within. They've been alone for too long. Meeting their own race, they naturally treat them like family. Go, go, go. Even the Universe Lords are getting impatient. Stop it. Let's hurry back. Over 10 golden-horned beasts brought golden-horned Luo Feng. In space, this large group of golden-horned beasts roared amongst themselves, simultaneously flying towards the distant astral god mountain. Golden-horned Luo Feng and the other 10 golden-horned beasts flew through the air, at the same time worried. According to what Na Zhen said, there's nowhere to hide in the starry sky god mountain. Won't I be discovered? However, Luo Feng also understood that this was the Space Beast Alliance's greatest being, the primogenitor's territory. He could no longer retreat. Sovereign Sujin. As the golden-horned beast flew, it asked, which Universe Lord is it that wants to see me? There are a few Universe Lords who are curious about you, but the first ones you'll meet are, of course, the 2 Universe Lords of the Golden-Horned Beast lineage, the Golden-Horn Master and the Whirlwind Master. 2. Golden-Horn Luo Feng was shocked. My Golden-Horned Beast bloodline is extremely powerful. Of the 12 peak bloodlines, each bloodline only has 1 Universe Lord, and our Golden-Horned Beast lineage has 2. Venerable Sail said proudly, the Golden-Horn Master is the most ancient master of the universe of our Golden-Horn lineage, while the Master of Annihilation is a new master of the universe. He became a master of the universe 1,000 epochs ago. Golden-Horned Luo Feng listened obediently. They chatted as they flew, flying at 100 times the original universe's light speed, very quickly arriving at the vast and endless Astral God Mountain. Astral God Mountain. Golden-horned Luo Feng looked carefully, only to find that the rocks of this endless mountain range were completely pitch black. It wasn't black, but a feeling similar to a black hole. Almost as though every rock was a black hole, this Astral God Mountain was extremely vast, separated into many regions. There were many huge shrines built, much larger than the human shrines. Space ripples. Golden-horned Luo Feng felt space ripple for the first time. We can teleport to places with space ripples. This is the primogenitor's way of allowing us to swiftly travel to different places. However, many important places don't have space ripples. Follow me. Head to the Golden Horn Master's shrine. These 10 golden-horned beast warriors passionately guided them as they flew within the Astral God Mountain. One had to know that the Astral God Mountain was a few light years tall. Even the size of the golden horn beast was like an earthworm on a sun. So, sometimes teleporting, sometimes advancing. After about 6 minutes, they finally arrived at an incomparably majestic palace carved with countless golden horned beast carvings. This palace was over 100 million km tall, emitting an endless pressure. Luo Feng immediately determined this should be a flying palace-type treasure. This is the Golden Horn Master's flying palace treasure. It's extremely powerful. Fan Knight said, "Let's go enter." In the plaza before the palace, there were a few undying level golden-horned beasts flying about, playing with each other. When they saw golden-horned Luo Feng flying over, they all looked curiously at him. One had to know that there were very few golden-horned beasts in the entire Star Alliance. They recognized almost all of them. However, they didn't recognize the one brought by the 10 golden-horned beast warriors. Don't tell me this is his first time returning to the Alliance. He was just brought in. His body's energy is so strong, even stronger than many universe warriors. The undying golden-horned beasts all discussed softly, and Fan Knight and Su Jin Knight led Luo Feng directly to the entrance of the palace. Even though this was the Golden Horn Master's palace, there were no guards. "Enter, my child." A powerful voice resounded. Golden-horned Luo Feng felt his bloodline tremble and submit. He knew this voice was from the Golden Horn Master. The Golden Horn Master was the most ancient universe lord of the Golden Horn Beast bloodline. It was normal for him to call a returning member of his race child. After all, Luo Feng was countless eras later than him. "Enter. Let's go." Fan Knight and the others, along with Golden-horned Luo Feng, their four hooves strode forward, entering the vast shrine. Their pace was very fast. Every second they flew over 1,000,000 km, flying straight to the center of the shrine and stopping. "Greetings, Golden Horn Master, Annihilation Master." Fan Knight and the other 10 Golden Horn Beast warriors said respectfully. "Greetings, Golden Horn Master, Annihilation Master." Golden-horned Luo Feng too shouted respectfully, after which he raised his head. Looking at the highest point of the shrine, there stood a majestic golden-horned beast with huge, scaled wings. This was a terrifying being with an aura like the endless universe, gazing down at Luo Feng. On the left stood a golden-horned beast covered in dark red armor. On top of the 5 horns, there was an extra long golden horn in the middle. As it gazed down at Luo Feng, its eyes were filled with endless whirlpools, almost as though the universe had been annihilated. Annihilation Master. Luo Feng immediately determined that the dark red armored golden horn beast was the new universe lord, the Annihilation Lord. Fan Knight, you all leave first. The Golden Horn Master gazed down and said slowly, "Yes." The 10 golden-horned beast warriors all retreated respectfully and flew away. The only ones left in the shrine were golden-horned Luo Feng below and the 2 universe lords above. Golden Horn Master and Annihilation Master. What a powerful god body. The Golden Horn Master gazed below and exclaimed, his voice majestic, "I didn't expect you to reach such a level while roaming the universe alone, comparable to many universe lords." The Annihilation Master's voice was gentler. Golden-horned Luo Feng listened obediently. From the surface, it was impossible to tell that Luo Feng was undying. Firstly, his god body was indeed strong, and secondly, the space laws were the upper laws of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Even if he was a space knight, his god body could easily manifest any of the 5 elements, and he could manifest the complete space. And the golden horned beasts usually manifested the gold element in their space energy. To be able to reach this level alone, you are very outstanding. The Golden Horn Master gazed below, his eyes filled with a smile. "I've discussed with the other universe lords. We'll provide you with special training. Under the Alliance's training, you have a high chance of stepping into the universe lord level." "Ha ha, On the left, the Annihilation Master laughed too, gazing at Luo Feng. If you step into the Universe Lord level, our Golden Horn Beast bloodline will have 3 Universe Lords, and will be ranked number 1 among the 12 bloodlines like the Mountain Ravine Beast bloodline. Mountain Ravine Beast, one of the 12 pinnacle bloodlines. Luo Feng listened obediently, sighing within. If I didn't have any strong warriors nurturing me to reach this level, then, with the Space Beast Alliance's careful nurturing, I would indeed have a high chance of becoming a Universe Lord. No wonder the Space Beast Alliance valued him so much. It was a pity he indeed had the ability and hope of reaching the Universe Lord level. However, he was a human, not a Golden Horn Beast. Space God Mountain has many inheritances and countless treasures. Raise your bloodlines. God Body Vibration Technique. Soul Vibration Technique. Anything is possible. The Golden Horn Master gazed at Luo Feng, and the envoy and general inheritances of the Ancestral God Sect, even the Beast God inheritance, are naturally there too. In fact, the Divine General's inheritance is just a set of special secret techniques with great power compared to some amplification secret techniques. Luo Feng understood. Just like the Demon Node inheritance, it was formed from 2 aspects. One of them was a soul-amplifying secret technique, and the other was a demonic sound technique. Actually, the Great Alliance too had the God Body and soul vibration techniques. The only thing was that they required contribution points to exchange. Luo Feng's current contribution points were definitely enough. The only thing was that training required a long period of time. Hence, Luo Feng decided to first acquire the 4th black metal board before returning to learn. The Golden Horn Master and Annihilation Master suddenly turned their heads and looked at each other. Golden Horned Luo Feng felt something amiss too. He looked up at the 2 Universe Lords. Child, the Primogenitor ordered me to personally meet you. The Golden Horn Master's powerful voice resounded. Simultaneously, he took a step forward and walked down from the throne. P.S. First chapter has arrived. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1083. Meet the Ancestor. Luo Feng was really shocked. The reason why the 9 great powers of the universe could be called that was because they had the strongest warriors in the universe. Like the creator of the huge axe. Even though Luo Feng was from the human race, he had never met or spoken to him before. The only person he had seen who was the strongest in the universe was Mountain Guest. And now he wanted to meet the strongest warrior of the Space Beast Alliance? Rumble, the Golden Horn Lord's 4 hooves stepped on the ground, seemingly slow, but he had already arrived beside Luo Feng. Don't worry, don't be afraid. The Golden Horned Lord looked at Luo Feng with a warm gaze. Our Space Beast Alliance has many knights, but most of them have never met the Ancestor. For you to be able to meet him personally the moment you were brought back, this is also your fortune. Whirlwind Destruction Lord walked down too. If the Ancestor values you, then the resources you'll receive will be much, much more. In our Star Alliance, the Ancestor's authority is the highest. I'm just a little afraid. Luo Feng roared softly. It'd be weird if you weren't afraid. Let's go. The Golden Horned Lord immediately controlled the surrounding space to bind Luo Feng, after which he became a beam of light and flew out. Beside him, Whirlwind Destruction Lord 2 flew out. Flying, teleportation, flying. The Golden Horned Lord and Whirlwind Destruction Lord led Luo Feng, spending close to 20 minutes to reach the peak of the Starry Sky God Mountain. The entire peak of the mountain actually had an independent mountain peak. This mountain peak was over 100 million km tall. It seemed illusory. At first glance, it seemed illusory, but on closer inspection, it seemed real. Especially this independent mountain peak had countless beast carvings, almost including the different races of the space beasts. At the foot of this independent mountain peak, there were a total of 12 space beast knights standing guard. These 12 space beasts were the 12 pinnacle bloodlines. Golden Horned Lord, Whirlwind Destruction Lord. These 12 guards bowed respectfully, simultaneously automatically opening up a path. Obviously, they had received orders from the ancestor long ago. The golden-horned lord and whirlwind destruction lord walked ahead. Luo Feng followed behind, following a mountain path upwards. This is the primogenitor mountain, the golden-horned lord said slowly. It's also an extremely terrifying absolute treasure. It is very scary. Golden-horned Luo Feng, too, felt the pressure. This primogenitor mountain's pressure was simply too strong, causing his forelegs to go soft. However, it made sense, a treasure used by the strongest warrior of the universe. Naturally, its power was overwhelming. Even if it was not as good as the Star Tower, it would only be slightly weaker. Xiao Chen believed that it would definitely be stronger than Qian Baohe. The reason why he was certain that it was stronger than Qian Baohe was purely because of Luo Feng's intuition. He was already a strong warrior. At least when the treasure released its pressure, he could determine the strength of the treasure. They walked along the mountain path. In the Primogenitor Mountain, you must follow this mountain path. Otherwise, you will be attacked by the Primogenitor Mountain. Even a simple attack from the Primogenitor Mountain can easily annihilate a universe paragon. Therefore, you cannot barge in without permission. The Golden Horn Master pointed and advanced. Soon, they arrived at the depths of the Primogenitor Mountain that was hundreds of millions of kilometers tall. Primogenitor. The Golden Horn Master and the Annihilation Master lowered their heads respectfully at the same time to show their respect. Primogenitor? Golden Horn Luo Feng didn't even see it. Looking carefully at the distant surroundings, only then did he see an illusory and soft body slowly appear. Simultaneously, a huge head extended out from the depths of the mountain. This head was similar to a dragon's head, only there were a total of 9 horns on it. The 9 horns revolved around the head, almost like a crown. Just this head alone was a few thousand km long. At the same time, in the distant mountain forest, a part of a claw that was not real or fake could be seen. Golden Horn Luo Feng could clearly see that the claw had a total of 9 claws. Even though the entire body of the primogenitor was only half a claw, one could still deduce that it was at least tens of thousands of km long. Greetings, primogenitor. Golden Horn Luo Feng lowered his head. The primogenitor's eyelids lifted slightly. His gaze seemed to pierce through everything. Looking at Golden Horn Luo Feng, a voice that seemed to resonate from every inch of space resounded. This is the rare genius of our Space Beast Alliance. Yes, Annihilation Master said respectfully. Primogenitor. The Golden Horn Master raised his head. He was much more casual. This child has just been brought back, and his body is already this strong. It's extremely rare. In the news from Flamestar earlier, this child was able to acquire the Sword River net part from the Primal Star. Even though we don't care about that part, but it also reflects his capabilities. Ha! I believe our Golden Horn Beast race will soon produce the 3rd Universe Lord. Golden Horn Luo Feng lowered his head beside. Sword River net part? He had already exchanged it for the 9 Nether River treasure. You two return first. The primogenitor ordered. Yes, Annihilation Master replied. The Golden Horn Master was immediately overjoyed. Primogenitor, you have to personally nurture him. He's a rare genius of our Golden Horn Beast race. Don't try to fool us. The primogenitor replied. The Golden Horn Master was immediately overjoyed. The Golden Horn Master simultaneously turned to look at Luo Feng, ordering, Gold Peak, the primogenitor wants to nurture you. This is your fortune. Make good use of it. Yes. Golden Horn Luo Feng listened obediently. Let's go. The Golden Horn Master and Annihilation Master immediately followed the mountain path and left. Deep in the mountains, the primogenitor's body was faintly discernible. That huge head gazed down at Golden Horn Luo Feng. Luo Feng stood obediently beside. To be able to kill the Ghost Blade Knight, not bad. The primogenitor said. Luo Feng understood that the absolute space was completely due to the primogenitor changing the universe laws. Naturally, nothing could escape the primogenitor's eyes. He immediately said respectfully, Luck. Human, you don't think you can hide from me? The primogenitor's voice resounded throughout every inch of space. He was indeed recognized. Indeed, an absolute genius that only appears once in a trillion eras. The primogenitor said slowly, Luo Feng, you are a human, not a member of our space beasts. Naturally, you can't be like the other space beasts and obtain our resources. Luo Feng understands. Golden Horn Luo Feng immediately entered the world ring. Simultaneously, the Masha clansman appeared. Believing that he had the Masha clansman, the primogenitor had long known about the control of the absolute space. Luo Feng returned to his human form and bowed respectfully. Human Luo Feng greets the primogenitor. Luo Feng unintentionally fell into danger and was unable to escape. He could only drift about and was brought here. It wasn't on purpose to hide from the primogenitor. When Luo Feng was weak, he tried to possess the golden horned beast. I hope the primogenitor will forgive me. Back then, when your home was forced into a desperate situation by the golden horned beast, it was your luck to be possessed. You coming here indeed wasn't your intention. I won't care about any of this. The primogenitor said slowly. Actually, before becoming undying, whether the space beasts were enslaved or possessed, the Alliance wouldn't care. Only the undying beasts would be brought here. Luo Feng was shocked within. The matter of Earth and the golden horned beast, very few humans knew about it. How did the primogenitor of the Space Beast Alliance know about it? Your arrival here wasn't a coincidence. It was arranged by your teacher, Mountain Traveler. The primogenitor said slowly. Luo Feng was stunned. Mountain Traveler? Mountain Traveler values you even more than his second disciple, Flame Emperor. The primogenitor said slowly. He specially invited me to open up the Space Beast Alliance's important grounds to you. There's no need to thank me. There's always a price to pay. Everything is equal. Your teacher Mountain Traveler has long paid the price. Luo Feng completely understood. Everything was indeed Mountain Traveler's doing. You walk the Beast God bloodline, and in the entire vast universe, the one who nurtures the absolute warriors of the Beast God bloodline is none other than me. The primogenitor said slowly, as for the ancestral God sect, in terms of nurturing the Beast God bloodline, we've only scratched the surface. Our space beasts are the true descendants of the Beast God. What? Luo Feng was shocked. Descendants? Actually, back then, the golden horned beast was able to easily absorb so many blood river crystals. Even after training the 9-level manuals, the crystal's functions could be fully utilized. This had long made Luo Feng suspicious. Now hearing the primogenitor of the Space Beast Alliance speak, the Space Beasts were actually descendants of the Beast God. My God, a huge secret. This was definitely one of the top secrets of the universe. My Space Beast Alliance's most important treasure land will be open to you. Even if I don't say it, you'll understand. The primogenitor gazed at Luo Feng. However, don't think it's simple. Your teacher has already set a requirement for you. If you can't reach it, you'll be trapped there forever. Luo Feng blinked. Mountain Traveler's requirement is very high, to the point that it can even be considered ridiculous. The primogenitor gazed at Luo Feng. I believe you have no way of reaching your teacher's requirement. Even after 1 trillion years, you won't succeed. Luo Feng frowned. These words were said by the primogenitor. Who was the primogenitor? The strongest warrior in the universe. The strongest warrior in the universe knew how many miracles Luo Feng had created. Even though he knew Luo Feng had trained for less than 100,000 years, he still dared to say such words. Obviously, Mountain Traveler's requirement was unbelievably high. I even made a bet with him. If you can succeed within 100,000 eras, I'll give you the most suitable set of treasures for the Beast God bloodline. If you fail, your teacher will lose an absolute treasure to me. The primogenitor gazed at Luo Feng. I can feel the fighting spirit and confidence in your eyes. I also know you're good at creating miracles. However, when you see your teacher's requirement, you'll understand what despair is. I even believe you'll be trapped there forever, unless you self-destruct and give up everything to leave. However, if you self-destruct and leave, it'll naturally be considered a failure. The primogenitor said. Luo Feng clenched his fists tightly and endured. Just watch. Even if you're the primogenitor, the strongest warrior in the universe, you actually dare say, I won't succeed within 100,000 years. You're underestimating me. However, just what kind of test did Mountain Traveler Teacher set for him to actually have such a huge bet with the Space Beast Primogenitor? The Space Beast Primogenitor's bet was an absolute treasure set. Mountain Traveler Teacher even used an absolute treasure to bet. Go on in. I believe you won't succeed within 100,000 years. The primogenitor's voice resounded throughout every inch of space. The black-clothed Luo Feng, who was originally standing there, vanished in a thin air. P.S. 2 chapters completed. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1084. Luo Feng felt the time flow change, almost like he was passing through the universe pathway to the primal universe. 1. Everything around him became clear. Luo Feng looked ahead. The trees and flowers here were tall and majestic. The ancient trees were all over 100 kilometers tall. So, Luo Feng broke through the air and flew above the forest, surveying his surroundings from there. With a glance, this vast forest was a plain in the distance. With Luo Feng's field of vision, he could only see the forest and the plain. Both the forest and the plain had huge statues. These were the statues of the legendary 8 great natural beast gods. Furthermore, there were many statues of each innate beast deity. Some were sleeping, some were roaring, some were frolicking, different styles of natural beast god statues, and every one of them emitted pressure, almost like the real beast gods had appeared. Where is this? The Space Beast Alliance primogenitor said he wanted to open the Space Beast Alliance's important grounds to me. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. Is this their important grounds? Not right. Time flow. Luo Feng's face was filled with shock. He had just connected with his Earth body's consciousness and swiftly felt the huge difference in the time flow between them. The difference was so huge that it shocked Luo Feng. In the actual universe, there was only 1 second. However, in this land and space Luo Feng was in, it was a full 10,081 seconds. Meaning to say, the time flow ratio had reached an exaggerated 1.10081. How can this be? The time ratio is actually this exaggerated. Luo Feng couldn't believe it, meaning to say that after 10,000 years here, only 1 year has passed in the actual universe. Even our human race's treasures like the Time Palace normally only allow time to be sped up by a few times, tens of times. Treasures like the Time Palace were normally created by the universe lords who had completely comprehended the space and time laws. The Temple of Time he created was actually a place for cultivation, but the flow of time here was much faster. Training within for 10 years, only 1 month had passed in the outside world. However, according to what Luo Feng knew, the Time Palace was extremely expensive. Normally 10 or 100 times acceleration was normal. 1,000 times acceleration was already astronomical. 10,000 times acceleration. At least the human race didn't have such a time palace. Luo Feng. An ancient voice resounded throughout the land and skies. Luo Feng fiercely turned his head. In the distance, a black cloud flew over, emitting a pressure that could suppress the entire world. When the black cloud neared, it actually transformed into a golden horned beast, and then transformed again, turning into a human, a white-robed old man with 9 horns on his head. Ancestor? Luo Feng hesitated. This is one of my clones. You're in a universe that belongs to the Star Behemoth Alliance. Another universe? Luo Feng was shocked. While chatting with Zhen, he already knew that the Astral Beast Alliance had a universe. Actually, Luo Feng could accept it. After all, the Space Beast Alliance was on par with the Great Alliance. Since the human race had a primal universe, it wasn't strange for the Space Beast Alliance to have a universe as well. And this is the Beast God world of the universe. The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. It's a place specially for nurturing the Beast God warriors. Beast God realm? Luo Feng looked at this vast and boundless world. The beast god statues were filled with immense pressure, much stronger than the statue Hiroto left behind back then. This is the most important place of the Astral Beast Alliance. Even the geniuses of the Alliance rarely get the chance to enter. Your teacher Mountain Passenger is pretty generous, coming personally to ask for my help. The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. However, I believe you won't succeed within 100,000 eras. 100,000 eras in the beast god world. Only 100,000 years have passed in the actual universe. The primogenitor smiled. 1 era per year. You probably haven't seen it before. Yes. Luo Feng was indeed very respectful of such methods. May I ask what request teacher Mountain Passenger left behind? Luo Feng asked. What request do I have to reach before I can leave? The request is very simple. The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. Defeat me, and you can leave. Defeat you. Luo Feng's eyes stared wide open. Defeat the Space Beast Alliance's primogenitor? Defeat the strongest warrior in the universe? What a joke. I will maintain the same level of strength as your god body. The primogenitor smiled at Luo Feng. My body is as strong as yours. As long as you defeat me, who has the same body, you can leave. How is that possible? Luo Feng shook his head. You are the strongest warrior in the universe. Your techniques are unbelievable. Even a universe lord wouldn't be able to do it. Not just the universe lord. Even the strongest warrior in the universe wouldn't be able to do it. Right? Even the universe lord wouldn't be able to do it. The primogenitor smiled at Luo Feng. However, the strongest warrior in the universe would be able to do it, because this is just a clone of mine. It can at most suppress the universe lord, but against the strongest warrior in the universe, it's still not enough. Don't tell me I have to become the strongest warrior in the universe to leave? Luo Feng shook his head. Impossible. It can't be that ridiculous. No matter how confident Luo Feng was, he didn't dare say he could become the strongest warrior in the universe within 100,000 years. He believed his teacher Mountain Passenger wouldn't be that stupid. And no matter how good the Space Beast Alliance was, it wouldn't be able to nurture Luo Feng to become the strongest warrior in the universe. What's more, there was no way to nurture the strongest warrior in the universe. The Beast God Path, Space and Time Path, etc. could only be trained up to the Universe Lord level. That was already the limit. There was no accurate way to become the strongest in the universe. To become the strongest in the universe, one could only rely on themselves. This was what Mountain Passenger had told Luo Feng back then. Relax. Your teacher has given you some hope. The primogenitor smiled. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief within. Indeed, the requirements weren't that ridiculous. When you are at the undying level, I can only use Universe Lord level techniques. The primogenitor smiled at Luo Feng. And when you reach the Universe Lord level, I can use Universe Lord level techniques. And when you become a Universe Lord, I can use my strongest techniques. No matter if you're an Undying, a Universe Lord, or a Universe Lord, this clone of mine will always maintain the same god body as you. The primogenitor smiled. It's just that as your comprehension of the origin laws increases, I can use more techniques. Luo Feng was stunned. A peak-level secret art of the Lord of the Universe? Of course, the pinnacle techniques. The primogenitor smiled. I'll definitely use techniques that are incomparably close to the ultimate level. Luo Feng felt a sense of despair. Preposterous. It was too preposterous. He was just an Undying, and he wanted to fight the Space Beast Primogenitor? Even though the Primogenitor could only use Universe Lord level techniques that were infinitely close to the ultimate level. But that could still be considered an ultimate technique. Defeat? Don't tell me I, an Undying, have to create a Universe Lord level technique? Luo Feng shook his head. What a joke. An Undying creating a Universe Lord level technique? Never heard of it. Definitely impossible. If I break through to the Universe Lord level, that primogenitor would be able to use the Universe Lord level's ultimate technique. With his methods, his ultimate technique would probably be even stronger than the primal Chaos City leaders. Luo Feng felt despair. When I become a Universe Lord, then the primogenitor will be able to go all out. There is no hope. In comparison, when he was at the undying level, he had a higher chance. Just an undying wanted to create the ultimate art of the universe, Lord? That was simply a dream, right? I believe you won't be able to do it, even in 1,000,000,000 years. The primogenitor smiled at Luo Feng. Hence, I'm naturally confident in my bet of 100,000 eras with your teacher mountain passenger. Ha! If you want to reach this requirement, there are actually only two paths. One, when you're at the undying level, create a universe lord level technique. Second, you can become the strongest person in the universe in my beast god realm. There are only these two paths. Hence, don't even think about becoming a universe lord, etc. After all, the moment you focus on your origin law comprehension, the time you spend on it will constantly increase. From the undying level to the pinnacle of the universe lord, just the origin law comprehension alone will require a long period of time. Hence, it's even more impossible to succeed within 100,000 eras. You only have these two paths. There's a slight possibility. One is to become the strongest in the universe. There's a slight possibility. The other is to create a universe lord level technique at the undying level. There's a slight possibility. The primogenitor smiled at Luo Feng. Of course, it's just a slight possibility. I believe you'll never reach it, and will forever be trapped in the beast god world. Luo Feng fell helpless. No wonder this primogenitor, who stood at the pinnacle of the universe, dared to make such a bet. No wonder he was so confident. A slight possibility? This was purely in theory. However, the actual probability was probably 1 in 1,000,000,000. This beast god world is open to nurture you. The primogenitor pointed at the surroundings. The statues in the distance immediately shone brightly. Even parts of the plains in the distance shone with light. Even further away, light shot into the sky. The statues, the ground, and the walls of the distant mountain range. Some of them have nomological runes left behind, and some are secret arts. All sorts of god-body oscillation techniques, soul oscillation techniques, battle techniques, close combat techniques, soul attack techniques, spirit weapon techniques. There's everything. Some are weak while others are strong. There are even tens of universe lord level techniques. You can learn as you wish. This beast god world is open to you everywhere. The primogenitor smiled. You can study all of them, unleash your talent, and create another miracle. Haha, if you want to challenge me, you can challenge me anytime. Of course, if you become the strongest in the universe, you won't even need to challenge me. Explore as much as you want. Study as much as you want. I'll await your challenge. Haha. 100,000 eras. Ha, interesting. The primogenitor laughed and vanished into thin air. Has everyone guessed it? Nobody can guess what's going to happen next. Hee. Asterisk monthly votes, recommendation votes, all of them. Send as many votes as you can. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1085. Luo Feng watched as the space beast ancestor vanished and swiftly descended, landing beside a lake in the vast forest. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to think. His heart gradually calmed down. Only then did Luo Feng open his eyes and start to think carefully about this matter. Teacher Mountain Passenger paid a huge price to give me this chance, allowing me to enter the Space Beast Alliance's important grounds. However, for me to defeat the Ancestor's body, how can I do that? To become a universe's strongest warrior, that's too far away for me. Create the Universe Lord's ultimate technique? Luo Feng shook his head. My origin law comprehension is very low, barely at the entry level of the Universe Knight. To create an absolute technique, one first has to have origin law comprehension as the foundation. I have no foundation at all. How can I create it? Even if I use the beast god conception as the foundation, my beast god conception is only slightly higher than the origin law comprehension. Luo Feng shook his head. Origin law comprehension and beast god conception were the principles of the absolute techniques. The origin law comprehension was completely comprehended. Even though the beast god conception wasn't completely comprehended, it was still memorized through trillions of simulations. However, my origin law comprehension and beast god conception are both very low. To create the universe lord's ultimate technique? How is that possible? Luo Feng looked up and surveyed his surroundings. Teacher Mountain Passenger made me come here. Could it be that the beast god realm can help me reach this goal? Luo Feng soared into the sky and became a beam of light, swiftly flying towards the nearest golden beast statue. The golden beast god was a fusion of the space and gold origin laws. It was also the path Luo Feng trained in. Who? Luo Feng landed before a majestic golden beast statue. This huge horned lizard's thick right claw was tearing the ground. Its long tail was slightly swaying, curving in midair. The entire statue had many complex engravings on its scales. These engravings were completely different from the beast god statue Luo Feng had. A new engraving. It also gave the entire statue a sense of peace and tranquility, almost as though the golden beast god was taking a leisurely stroll, casually scratching the ground with its claws. Luo Feng looked up with a curious expression. I clearly feel like this is an origin law engraving. However, why are the engravings on the scales different? After studying for a while, Luo Feng couldn't understand. So, Luo Feng broke through the air and flew towards the other golden beast god statue. After all, the golden beast god was the one he understood the most among the 8 great beast gods. The other golden beast statue also made Luo Feng feel like it was an origin law body. However, that golden beast god was emitting an incredibly terrifying killing energy, almost as though it was about to attack. The patterns on the scales changed again. One after another, the metal beast god statues appeared. Each of them was different. There was anger, tranquility, happiness, madness, determination, roaring, in different states. The scales of the metal beast god in different states were also different. Moreover, among those statues, some of the golden beast gods used their sharp claws to attack. Some used their tails, and some used their horns. It seemed like any part of their bodies could be attacked. After looking at the gold beast god, Luo Feng looked at the thunder beast god, light beast god, other beast god statues. These statues were much stronger than the statues Hiroto left behind back then. It even made Luo Feng feel that these statues were very close to the little beast god statue he had. The 8 natural beast gods. Every beast god has many statues, and every one of them seems to have completely integrated the origin laws. Luo Feng was shocked within. After looking at the 8 statues, Luo Feng wandered around the beast god world. On the wasteland, on the ancient trees, on the walls, on the mountain peaks, at the bottom of the lakes, there were all sorts of techniques and carvings. When one got close to these places, one could feel the pressure emitted from the carvings. Some were pure engravings, while others were detailed introductions of origin laws. Techniques left behind by the space beasts in the past, strong or weak. There were even tens of Universe Lord ultimate techniques. As for the pinnacle of Universe Lord techniques and the Universe Knight level techniques, there were countless. There were close combat techniques, spirit weapon techniques, hypnosis techniques, body amplification techniques, soul amplification techniques. It made Luo Feng's eyes blur. My soul amplification technique can only amplify 32 times. Even though the Golden Horned Beast has its own amplification techniques, Deities of the World is a more basic one. Its limit is only 36 times. The techniques here, most of them can exceed 80 times, some even reach 100 times. Luo Feng was very satisfied with them. If he memorized more techniques, body amplification techniques, soul amplification techniques, he wouldn't have to think of other ways to find them. He could easily train them to perfection in the beast god world. Of course, having the techniques didn't mean success. Just like many who received the inheritance of the god generals, those who truly received the complete inheritance could be counted on one's fingers. Space Beast Alliance's universe, within the beast god world. The vast land and skies were endless. On the peak of the majestic mountain, Luo Feng leaned on the rock and gazed at the endless land and skies, exclaiming, "What exquisite techniques! The Universe Lord's ultimate techniques are are indeed unfathomable. Even the primal Chaos City leader teacher's technique is only at this level. It's a pity I'm still in a daze, even though some of the techniques had some notes. However, Luo Feng's comprehension was too low. It was like looking at a flower in a fog. He didn't understand anything. The Universe Lord's ultimate techniques are right in front of me. They all have notes and explanations, yet I can't understand them. And you want me to create them? Teacher Mountain Traveler, you have too much confidence in me. Luo Feng was helpless. This was a treasure trove. Just from the beast god statues, Luo Feng was able to see every natural beast god state. Luo Feng felt many of the questions he had over the years suddenly cleared up. And Luo Feng had a feeling the scales produced different amounts of pressure. And all of them were like origin laws. There was a secret within. I feel that every statue is an absolute technique. Luo Feng muttered, and there should be some connection between the statues. It's just that my level is still too low. I can't see through it at all. Luo Feng was actually in a daze at the start, having such a feeling. As he browsed through the many techniques, he realized that the creators of these techniques all had notes at the back. They were all comprehended from certain beast god statues. This made Luo Feng understand immediately these statues were definitely not ordinary. Comprehended. How do I comprehend? The creators of these techniques are mostly universe lords. How do I comprehend them? Luo Feng shook his head. Teacher Mountain Traveler, you might have to lose that ultimate treasure. Luo Feng said softly. Suddenly he was stunned. Not right. Luo Feng suddenly stood up. The ancestor is powerful. Teacher Mountain Traveler isn't stupid either. Luo Feng muttered to himself. In comparison, Teacher Mountain Traveler knows more about me. Since he dared to bet, it means he has some confidence, which means I have a chance of achieving it. Then where is this chance? Where is it? How do I achieve it? Luo Feng could vaguely feel that he had a way to achieve it, but he couldn't think of anything. After thinking for 3 days, he still couldn't think of anything. Forget it, 100,000 eras. That's 1 billion years. Such a long time, there's no rush. For now, I'll focus on training the 9 calamities manuals. 9 calamities? 9 calamities? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Training the 9 calamities manuals will definitely allow the golden horned beast to reach the perfect gene level. Last time I obtained the natural talent, I am the universe. This time, I might even get a natural talent technique. Even if I don't get it, the golden horned beast should be able to unleash I am the universe by then. I am the universe talent technique at the very least consumes such a huge amount of God body. Even the ultimate techniques of the universe wouldn't be this ridiculous. And when my consciousness was bestowed, that light's power felt much stronger than the universe lord's. This I am the universe technique should be considered the universe lord's ultimate technique. Luo Feng was overjoyed. Right, the natural talent technique? I am the universe. The ancestor only told me to defeat his body. He didn't say I couldn't use my natural talent techniques. Luo Feng laughed to himself. Right, just like Bark Mirror Emperor, who is only an undying, his natural talent technique's power can be considered at the universe lord level. I've reached the perfect gene level. The I am the universe technique is obviously much more powerful. Haha, 100,000 eras? I don't need 100,000 eras. I can do it in 100 years. Only 3 days have passed in the actual universe. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. He had a strong feeling from the commotion of the I am the universe talent technique, its power definitely wouldn't be weak. Along with the consumption of such a powerful god body at the lowest level, it would definitely meet the requirements. When the golden horned beast unleashes I am the universe, it can completely defeat the primogenitor clone that can only unleash the universe lord pinnacle technique. Luo Feng was enlightened. He couldn't think of a way before, but now he had confidence. He had looked at the many techniques of the beast god realm. Even though he was confused, he felt that I am the universe wasn't any weaker than any of them. Filled with anticipation, Luo Feng began to fully immerse himself. The golden horned beast tail, back 2 claws, wings, upper back, and head, these 7 areas all had at least 10 blood river crystals infused into them. The genetic amplification could reach up to 10 times. And the right claw, left claw, and back all had 100 blood river crystals infused. The genetic amplification could reach up to 100 times. As he trained, the golden horn beast's life genetic level continued to rise. 7,000, 7,500, 8,000, 8,500, 9,000, 9,500. When the 6th level of a 9 level was completed, the golden horn beast's life genetic level had reached about 9,900 times. I'm just a little away from the perfect limit. Luo Feng was filled with pride. 7th level. The golden horn beast continued to train for the 7th level, causing its life genetic level to steadily rise, nearing the legendary limit. Just like back then when the ocean clone finally reached its limit. Finally, on the 62nd year of entering the beast god realm, the golden horn beast's life genetic level reached the limit of perfection. P.S. 2 chapters completed. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1086. The clear lake water rippled. The surface of the lake was covered in mist, permeating the surroundings. Beside the lake, Luo Feng sat cross-legged. On his shoulder was a 1m long golden horn beast. Perfect limit. Back then the ocean clone had reached this level. Only after transforming into the endless ocean, the new ocean clone that was formed was merely 1,000 times stronger. Finally, I finally allowed the golden horn beast to reach this level. Luo Feng smiled, at the same time waiting for the changes to happen. According to normal procedures, the moment one's life force reached perfection, there would be changes. The last time was when the universe origin laws descended, causing Luo Feng's consciousness to be drawn into the mysterious space, allowing the ocean clone to swiftly reach over 90,000 kilometers tall. Luo Feng sat there frowning. 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. No changes? Why isn't there any movement at all? Luo Feng was shocked. After 62 years of training in a 9 Calamity manual, he reached the perfect gene level. But this time, there was no movement at all. His divine body didn't change, and Luo Feng's consciousness wasn't drawn into that mysterious place again. Luo Feng stood up in shock. Don't tell me, don't tell me. Luo Feng's eyes stared wide, filled with unwillingness. He carefully thought about it, and understood why there wasn't any change. Because this was another universe, and not the primal universe. Even though Luo Feng knew it was another universe, in theory, even though it was a different universe, gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, light, thunder, time, space, even in many fusion laws, everything was the same as the primal universe. Comprehending the origin laws and techniques was no different from the primal universe. Just like in the primal universe, stepping into the universe level, domain lord, sector lord, etc., it was exactly the same as in the primal universe. The primal universe was the largest and most vast universe, with trillions of races and countless life forms. And the primal universe and the Space Beast Alliance universe were much smaller. One big, two small. However, the laws, the Strong's training, etc., were all the same. Different universes would only have slight differences in time flow and environment. The big aspects were all the same. Hence Luo Feng thought. The moment he reached the perfect life gene level, the golden horn beast would evolve again. Even his consciousness could enter the mysterious space of this universe again. Wrong. It seems that there are differences between different universes. This universe of the Starry Sky Behemoth Alliance doesn't have any reaction to my perfect genetic level. Even his god body hasn't evolved. Luo Feng shook his head. What to do now? Luo Feng was troubled. Even though the golden horn beast's life gene level had reached a perfect level, and in terms of quality, it had reached the minimum requirement of using I am the universe. But in terms of quantity, it was very lacking. One had to know that a 90,000 kilometer tall divine body could only be used 10 times. The golden horn beast was only 1,000 kilometers. That was a few hundred thousandth of a 90,000-kilometer high god body. The moment it uses I am the universe, the golden horn beast's body would be completely exhausted before it could even form the technique. Relying on the natural ability, I am the universe, to defeat the primogenitor's body won't work. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Then what do I do? At that moment, Luo Feng felt helpless. His clone's body was too small, so he couldn't use his innate secret technique. Did he have to create it himself? Just based on his law comprehension and beast god mentality, to create the universe lord's ultimate technique, that was simply the biggest joke in the world. What should I do? Luo Feng constantly thought. However, he realized there was no hope. He wasn't even a knight. How could he create the universe lord's ultimate technique? Become the universe's strongest? Ridiculous. The beast god world was vast and vast. In one of the mountain ranges, on one of the mountain peaks, the white-robed primogenitor old man sat beside him. Opposite him was a green-robed old man with 2 crystalline horns. The two of them sat opposite each other. Mountain guest, looks like your disciple has fallen into a predicament. The primogenitor smiled. Don't rush. Mountain guest gazed into the distance. Whether it was the primogenitor or the mountain guest, both of them had sent their clones here. After all, this was the universe controlled by the primogenitor, just like how the primal universe was controlled by the primal chaos city leader. This universe was controlled by the primogenitor. In the primal universe, the primal chaos city leader was invincible. In this universe, even though the primogenitor was just a clone, the moment he borrowed the universe origin energy, he was still an invincible being. Hence, similarly, the universe's strongest mountain guest naturally wouldn't fall into a predicament. He could just casually create a clone. At the universe's strongest level, he could casually create another clone. You're really powerful. Back then, you forcefully raised your second disciple's life genetic level to close to 10,000 times. Now the third disciple you've nurtured is even more extraordinary. He's already reached the perfect gene level. The primogenitor sighed. In terms of nurturing disciples, especially raising the life genetic level, I'm far from you. Mountain guest shook his head and laughed. This goes against the universe's laws. One has to pay a sufficient price. I've only nurtured these 2 disciples. If it were any more, I wouldn't be able to afford it. The primogenitor nodded. At their level, they were already standing at the pinnacle. Like the amplitude techniques, life, genetic level, etc., they had no meaning to them. They had long reached the perfect level. Otherwise, how could they be called the universe's strongest? Everyone who can reach the perfect gene level will receive the primal universe origin energy's blessing. Their divine body can evolve to the perfect level. Their consciousness can also receive the strongest talent secret technique. The primogenitor sighed. What a pity. This is my universe. The primogenitor glanced at Mountain Guest. My universe is far from being as powerful as the primal universe. I can't give him the talent secret technique. I can't make his divine body evolve either. The primogenitor held up the wine that was condensed from countless dew and took a sip. His divine body hasn't evolved. Even if he has the strongest talent secret technique, he won't be able to use it. Moreover, he hasn't even received the strongest talent secret technique. If this was the primal universe, I'm afraid I'd lose this bet. What a pity, this is my universe. The primogenitor looked at Mountain Guest. I can control all unexpected factors. Your disciple can only rely on the beast god realm. Quite confident. Mountain Guest also held up the wine, took a sip, and sighed. This wine is not bad. Give me some later. This wine of mine is specially cultivated in this universe I control in many special environments before finally producing it. The cost of the effort is not small. The primogenitor looked at Mountain Guest and laughed. However, your ultimate treasure is about to lose to me. This little wine is nothing. Old beast god. Remember, 100,000 eras. Mountain Guest shook his head. How long has it been? Don't be too confident. Oh, you're very confident? The primogenitor said. Do you think that disciple of yours will be able to become the strongest expert in the universe in 100,000 epics? Or will he be able to create the ultimate secret technique of the Lord of the universe with his undying body? Or will he be able to create the ultimate technique of the strongest expert in the universe with his paragon body? According to the bet, the moment Luo Feng becomes the universe lord, then the primogenitor clone can use the universe lord ultimate technique. The ultimate technique used by the primogenitor clone will undoubtedly be the pinnacle of the ultimate techniques used by the universe lord. To defeat such a primogenitor clone, the only way is to create the universe's strongest ultimate technique. I can only tell you. Mountain Guest looked at the progenitor. My disciple has hope of succeeding. Of course, if he can't comprehend it and fails, he can only blame himself for not being capable enough. Hope? What a joke. The primogenitor still didn't believe it. 100,000 eras, it's only 100,000 years in the primal universe. Just watch. Mountain Guest said, in these 100,000 years, don't let any other warriors enter the beast god realm. Don't disturb him. Relax. I definitely won't purposely disturb him. The primogenitor said, where's the wine? Mountain Guest said. The primogenitor flipped his hand, and immediately an exquisite wine bottle appeared, floating in midair. This is half of what I've accumulated. The primogenitor said, I'm leaving. Mountain Guest flipped his hand and kept the wine. He turned and gazed into the distance. The distant Luo Feng was deep in thought, following which he turned and took a step, vanishing into thin air. Hope. The primogenitor gazed below. Mountain Guest, that old punk, actually said his disciple has hope of succeeding, becoming the universe's strongest, is definitely a joke. Which means he thinks his disciple can create the universe lord ultimate technique with his undying body. If this Luo Feng succeeds, it'll be an eye-opener for me. If he fails, that ultimate treasure will be mine. The primogenitor smiled and vanished into thin air. Luo Feng sat by the lake for a total of 9 days, even studying his teacher Mountain Guest and the space beast primogenitor's mentality, but he still couldn't find a solution. Primogenitor, Mountain Guest, they're the strongest in the universe. Their knowledge and abilities are at the pinnacle of the universe. The primogenitor doesn't believe I can do it. Since teacher Mountain Guest made this bet, he definitely thinks I have a chance of doing it, at least within 1 billion years. Luo Feng pondered. He told me to come to the beast god realm. So to reach this requirement, I have to first search within the beast god realm. Luo Feng understood. The first goal was the beast god realm. Throughout history, there have definitely been many that came to the beast god realm, after all the techniques were obviously left behind by the universe lords and knights of the Space Beast Alliance. However, these powerful beings couldn't possibly create the universe lord ultimate technique at the undying level. The moment someone could do it, the primogenitor wouldn't gamble. Luo Feng nodded to himself. From this, it could be deduced that just relying on the beast god realm wasn't enough. First, I have to rely on the beast god realm. Second, I have to rely on some of my own secrets. Third, I still need a long time. Otherwise, teacher Mountain Guest wouldn't have bet 100,000 eras. Luo Feng thought 100,000 eras. That was 1 billion years. That was an extremely long time. P.S. Here's the first chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1087. Luo Feng understood that if he wanted to succeed, he had to start from the beast god world. He also understood that his teacher paid such a huge price to let him enter the beast god world, it would definitely be of great benefit to him. Hence, Luo Feng once again began his tour of the beast god world. This time he was extremely serious and careful. First, he left a secret technique carving on the ground of a plane and learned 2 sets of amplitude amplification secret techniques. One was a soul amplitude technique called 9-peak lock. When trained to the extreme, one could reach a soul amplitude of 99. 99, which was actually 100 times. The other was a god body amplitude technique called Golden Beast God. When trained to the extreme, one could reach 100 times. Luo Feng originally thought that his training would be very difficult. However, he didn't expect Golden Beast God to be completed in one go. In a short 3 days, he reached the perfect level. Whether it was the Masha clansman, his earth body, ocean body, or the golden horn beast, they could all unleash this god body amplitude technique. As for Nine Peak Lock, it was an extreme control of the godly energy. Its requirements for willpower and consciousness were extremely high. However, Luo Feng's willpower and consciousness were at the Universe Overlord level, and the Universe Overlord's soul amplitudes were all at a perfect level. Hence, it was easy for Luo Feng to train. After spending over a month, he actually managed to train Nine Peak Lock to a perfect level. My godly energy, willpower, and consciousness, they are all at the Universe Overlord level. Yet, training them is so easy. Luo Feng sighed within. This was the difference in strength and difficulty. If it was an Emperor-level Undying, probably not even one out of the tens of thousands of them could train Nine Peak Lock to its absolute peak. Nine Peak Lock and Golden Beast God. These two amplitude techniques took over a month to train. Luo Feng then continued to tour the Beast God world. The Beast God world had 64 Beast God statues. Each of the 8 great innate beast deities had 8 statues of beast deities. There were tens of thousands of secret techniques, 36 Universe Lord Ultimate techniques, 123 Universe Lord Pinnacle techniques, 3,000 Universe Lord Ultimate techniques, and tens of thousands of Universe Lord Pinnacle techniques. There were also large amounts of seemingly random origin law engravings. He couldn't understand most of the secret techniques, and he could only vaguely understand some of the most basic secret techniques. After studying it for half a year, Luo Feng arrived before one of the Golden Beast God statues, raising his head to carefully study it. Those absolute arts are useless against me. Those were all created by other experts. Even if I learned them, they would be most suitable for others. In my hands, they would be much weaker. Luo Feng looked at the Beast God statue, and many of the techniques have descriptions of studying the Beast God statue. Even the masters of the universe can comprehend these Beast God statues. In the entire Beast God realm, the most precious thing is these 64 Beast God statues. Luo Feng stared. In the Beast God realm, on one of the mountain peaks, the primogenitor stood casually, gazing at the distant golden beast statue in the vast forest where Luo Feng stood. He said softly, "You've actually stood before the Beast God statue for a total of 3 years. Looks like you've realized the Beast God statue is the most precious thing." That's right. All the peerless geniuses and super experts of our Starry Sky Alliance know that the Beast God statue is the key. There are many who understand this. However, those who comprehend the absolute arts, especially the Universe Lord's ultimate arts, are extremely few. And those who comprehend the Universe Lord's ultimate arts are all Universe Lords. The primogenitor was leisurely and carefree. He himself was clear. The other techniques of the Beast God realm seemed precious, but they weren't much. The 64 statues were the true priceless treasures. Luo Feng stood before the 8 statues, studying them for a year at least, or 8 years at most. As for the thunder and light beast gods, the time he took to study them was much shorter. After all, he didn't walk the path of the other beast gods. The 64 statues took a total of 52 years. The more I look, the more I feel it's perfect. Golden Beast God, 8 statues. Luo Feng felt that after looking at the 8 statues of the Golden Beast God, the rage, joy, calmness, roar, madness, all sorts of situations were very familiar to him. Closing his eyes, it was almost as though he had personally seen the Beast God, the Golden Beast God. One less statue would make me feel incomplete. Luo Feng nodded within. Actually, just looking at the 64 statues, as long as one was a strong warrior, they would feel that the 64 statues were one body. The 64 statues represented the universe engravings, and if they could combine into one, it could completely form an absolute technique. Just like a man and woman, With one look, they would feel like husband and wife. The 64 statues, if one calmed down and looked at them, they would feel like they were one body. Every warrior of the Space Beast Alliance that came to the Beast God realm should be able to feel it. However, no one has been able to comprehend this technique. Luo Feng thought. Because of the Beast God realm's 36 most powerful universe techniques, some are comprehended from the Golden Beast God, some from the Thunder Beast God, and occasionally from two Beast Gods. However, from the aura left behind by the statues, they were all equally powerful. Obviously, the techniques were all about the same level. If one were to combine the 8 statues to create an absolute technique, it would definitely surpass the other techniques. After learning the 2 oscillation techniques and studying the Beast God statues, Luo Feng began to study himself. I have to succeed. 1. Rely on the Beast God realm. 2. Rely on my unique body. 3. Rely on time. I've studied the Beast God realm thoroughly. And myself, what's truly unique, even the absolute warriors of the Space Beast Alliance, other than the primogenitor, can't compare to, is probably the 9-level manuals, Star Pagoda, Natural Talents, I Am the Universe, and Endless Dark Ocean. Luo Feng thought. The 9-level manuals, one of a kind in the universe. Star Pagoda, the universe's ultimate treasure. Other than the primogenitor, the chances of any other being in the Space Beast Alliance having such an ultimate treasure was extremely low. At least Luo Feng had never heard of it. The natural talent, I Am the Universe. This was a natural talent bestowed by the universe after reaching a perfect genetic level. One had to know that many unique special life forms only had a few thousand times the normal genetic level. Close to 10,000 times was rare. Not to mention reaching a perfect level. Space beasts weren't special life forms. Unless one had something similar to the 9-level manuals, it would be hard to reach such a level. Endless Dark Ocean. It meant that the god energy was almost endless. It was a pity that he was in another universe and had no way to absorb the energy from the endless dark ocean. He did as he said. Primal Universe. Luo Feng's earth body first headed to the Star Pagoda, studying the countless stars and the engravings on the sky pillars. It was a pity it felt even more profound than the universe lore techniques in the Beast God realm. He couldn't understand them at all. Following which, he carefully studied the 9-level manuals. This was purely a technique to raise one's genetic level, and in terms of profoundness, it was comparable to the Star Pagoda engravings, far surpassing the universe lore techniques. Similarly, he didn't understand the profoundness within, he could only train it step by step. Following which, returning to the endless dark ocean, he began to unleash his natural talent. I am the universe. Luo Feng's other bodies couldn't unleash I am the universe unless the enemy entered the God Country. The endless dark ocean within the God Country was able to unleash I am the universe. Natural talent. I am a universe. Rumble. Immediately the endless God energy ocean burned and became endless energy. In the air above the endless dark ocean, a huge egg-shaped ball with a diameter of 10 billion kilometers appeared. Miniature universe. This is the universe? Miniature universe. Luo Feng's consciousness merged with the miniature universe, feeling incredibly excited. Ever since he got the talent, I am the universe, this was the first time he used it, according to the incomparably mysterious talent that was imprinted in his consciousness. When he used it, the god energy consumption rate was simply terrifying. Almost as soon as he used it, the god energy of the golden horned beast god body was completely used up. Luckily, the endless dark ocean was vast enough. Miniature universe. The vast universe, with a diameter of 10 billion kilometers, it contained everything. Within this vast universe, there was chaos energy flow, and the miniature universe itself was Luo Feng. How mysterious. Absolute control, absolute control. The moment Luo Feng transformed into the miniature universe, he understood that he could split a portion of his god body to fight with his enemies within the universe. Within his own miniature universe, with the pressure of the universe, his strength would rise greatly, while his enemies would be suppressed greatly. This was just one of the abilities. The strongest was universe explosion. Luo Feng was shocked. With just a thought, he could cause the entire miniature universe to instantly collapse into the universe destruction. Its power was unbelievable. What a mysterious technique. There's actually such a heavenly talent that can transform into a miniature universe. Luo Feng exclaimed. Simultaneously, his consciousness began to carefully study the miniature universe. The membrane of the huge ellipsoidal sphere, the miniature universe, was formed by countless strands of law threads connecting together to form a huge mystical pattern of law, transforming it into chaotic air currents. The chaotic air currents revolved around the huge mystical pattern and condensed into a membrane. The other chaos energy flowed within the miniature universe constantly. The huge origin law engravings. This was Luo Feng's natural talent that he unleashed. He didn't understand it all, and this was his first time personally seeing this origin law engravings. This origin law engravings were oval-shaped, formed from trillions of origin law threads that intersected and intersected. It was extremely complicated. This origin law engravings was the laws of the miniature universe, and Luo Feng's God energy consumption was to supply the entire miniature universe's consumption. Accurately speaking, this wasn't a true universe. A true universe's energy should be cyclical. It should never be consumed. However, Luo Feng's energy was constantly being consumed. Obviously, this origin law engravings should be a simplified version of the primal universe's laws. Even so, it was enough to stun Luo Feng. 2-2. Luo Feng was completely shocked by this engravings. This engravings had a beauty that shook the soul. It was more shocking than any ultimate technique, even more beautiful than the engravings on the beast god statues. P.S. 2 chapters completed, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1088. Luo Feng was completely immersed in this shock, carefully admiring this huge and intricate miniature universe engravings. As time passed, the amount of God energy consumed in 90 seconds was comparable to the 90,000 kilometers tall ocean clone, 10,000 times genetic life form. However, the endless ocean could easily withstand it. This isn't this? Luo Feng was shocked to find that the incredibly complicated and intricate engravings could be completely separated, forming many small engravings. Every small engravings was from the 64 beast god statues. One of the statues had a total of 92 engravings. Many of them were repeated. However, it was obvious that they all came from the 64 beast god statues. And these 92 engravings had countless threads intertwining, almost like large amounts of spare parts finally forming a car. These 92 engravings, every part had countless threads intertwining, perfect and flawless, almost like it was made by nature, finally forming a miniature universe. How can this be? 64 engravings combining and forming a miniature universe engravings. Luo Feng suddenly felt as though a new door had opened before him. If one didn't know about the 64 engravings beforehand, then facing the miniature universe engravings with trillions of origin laws intertwining and intertwining, one would only find it profound and unfathomable. However, right now, Luo Feng felt that from the perspective of the engravings, it was obviously much easier. It was just a complex combination of the 64 engravings. It's unbelievable. Luo Feng was completely captivated. He had never realized that the high and mighty heaven-defying techniques could actually be analyzed from another perspective. Primal universe, in the vast space, a normal universe ship was flying. Within the ship, this disciple of mine has the 9 underworld's body. He's already reached the perfect life form level before undying. He must have received the strongest natural abilities. Mountain passenger sat in the ship, saying softly, and the strongest natural abilities are the pinnacle of the countless natural abilities in the universe. Every single one of them can be considered perfect. And the 64 engravings, they're the perfect embodiment of the 8 beast gods. The 8 beast gods are the embodiment of the 8 great origin laws. The universe's laws can be split into metal, wood, water, fire, earth, light, wind, thunder, time, space. They can also be split into the 8 great origin laws. Mountain Passenger smiled. Mountain Passenger was already standing at the pinnacle of the universe. He could clearly see through everything. The most powerful secret arts can be broken down into 64 secret patterns. As for some low-level secret techniques, they can't even compare to a mysterious beast tattoo. They don't have the qualifications at all. Luo Feng looked at the 64 beast god statues in the beast god world and knew about the 64 engravings. The moment he unleashes his own special technique, he'll definitely discover the connection between the 64 engravings and his special technique. From the angle of the mystical patterns, I'll use the 64 mystical patterns as elements to create a secret art. There's no need to understand the principles behind each of the 64 mysterious patterns. All I need to do is memorize the 64 patterns and the structure of each one. Then, with reference to the complicated, mysterious pattern structure of the strongest secret innate skill he obtained, we can definitely try this path. Once I succeed, it's not impossible to create a simplified version of the strongest talent secret technique. If he really succeeds, then it means that his attainments in the mysterious patterns are already extremely high. Using the 64 engravings as the basic elements to train, there were warriors of this level before the Great Apocalypse. If Luo Feng can achieve something in this area, along with his normal origin law training, his improvement will be even faster. He'll also be able to see through the mysteries of the universe's origin laws. Mountain Passenger waited silently. He was gambling. The path of the mysterious patterns. Since the birth of the primal universe, no one had walked it before. The main thing was that very few had the qualifications to see the 64 engravings. Even without the guidance of the strongest talent secret techniques, perfect engravings, it was still hard to understand. However, before the Great Apocalypse, there were warriors of this level. This meant that this path was possible. Different paths could support each other, yet they all led to the same destination: the mysteries of the universe's origin laws. You haven't even spent 100,000 years to have such accomplishments. I can even endure the life and death inheritance. Now that I'm giving you a total of 1 billion years, I wonder if you'll have any results on the path of the mysterious patterns. Mountain Passenger waited silently. The path of the mysterious pattern training had always been a secret. After all, the Great Apocalypse was far away and unpredictable. During the Great Apocalypse, the mysterious pattern training was extremely secretive and rare. The number of people who trained in it was extremely few. Infatuated. Luo Feng was completely infatuated. He'd never thought that after the 64 engravings were combined, they could form such a heavenly technique. Luo Feng felt that the I and the universe technique was extremely powerful. It was like a heavenly book that he couldn't understand at all. But now he understood. This was the incomparably complicated combination of the 64 engravings. Some of the engravings were even repeated. A total of 92 engravings. Don't tell me these 64 engravings, when they combine, they have extremely great power? Luo Feng immediately began his research. In one of the mountain peaks of the beast god realm, the ancestor appeared and gazed below. That's weird. Why is he drawing the engravings over and over again? The ancestor looked from afar. Luo Feng was sitting cross-legged in front of a golden beast statue. Around him, engravings were forming and the engravings began to combine. He's been drawing these engravings for over 10,000 years. The ancestor was suspicious. After Luo Feng studied the engravings, he realized that the engravings were extremely mysterious and hard to fathom. If he drew it wrongly, the power would be greatly reduced. However, Luo Feng completely followed the complicated engravings of the I and the universe and simulated a few simple combinations. Like a blind cat catching a mouse, he casually created 10 techniques. However, most of them were weak, comparable to some undying techniques. The only one that was extremely strong was actually close to the third form of the 10,000-star Tao presentation picture. This shocked Luo Feng greatly. He understood the engraving's path was definitely a new path, and if he wanted to successfully defeat the ancestor within 100,000 years, he would have to rely on this. At the start, Luo Feng was purely guessing. I am the universe's incomparably complicated engravings. There were trillions of ways to combine origin law threads. Luo Feng started purely copying and randomly guessing. Just like that, after over 10,000 years, he had successfully created many techniques. Most of them were weaker. However, time after time of experimentation, Luo Feng discovered the differences in these combinations. From practice, he came up with possibilities. From each possibility, he came up with theories. During the first 100,000 years, Luo Feng was completely exploring. To try and guess something that was comparable to the third form of the 10,000-star Tao presentation picture, he only managed to do it twice. Obviously, relying on guessing was extremely difficult. After the exploration phase, Luo Feng gradually had some patterns, and Luo Feng made a decision to temporarily abandon the other 56 engravings and completely study the 8 great engravings of the Golden Beast God. Because from the 100,000 years of exploration, it was clear that Luo Feng's guessing was the most accurate of the 8 great engraving diagrams, and his comprehension was also the fastest. After 1,000,000 years, Luo Feng had some understanding of the 8 great engravings. Over 10 million years, Luo Feng's understanding of the many combinations of the 8 patterns, their mysteries, effects, power, etc., was completely grasped within his heart. Of course, these he grasped compared to the I and the universe. This incomparably complex pattern combination was just the tip of the iceberg. However, this tip of the iceberg was completely grasped by Luo Feng. Within these 10 million years, Luo Feng had finally created a universe night-level ultimate technique by chance. Even though he didn't understand the fundamentals, it was like a natural talent technique. Luo Feng had already memorized the way to unleash it, memorizing the countless origin law thread structure and unleashing it in an instant. Logically, this was impossible. The countless origin law threads had to be unleashed in an instant. If one didn't understand the fundamentals, it was impossible to unleash it, unless it was like a natural talent technique, imprinting it within one's consciousness. However, in truth, Luo Feng didn't need to unleash all of his origin law threads. He only needed to unleash a few engravings and then carefully control them. Vast and profound. The path of the engravings, Luo Feng felt that it was profound and unfathomable. Maybe it was an unorthodox path, but it was a path that led to the highest path. Did Teacher Mountain Passenger already know of this training method? And let me come to the Beast God world. But why has humanity never had such a training method before? And I've never heard of it before. Luo Feng was suspicious at times. However, without a doubt, this is indeed an unbelievable training method. The engravings were like components. The universe was like a skyscraper. Countless components eventually formed the skyscraper, and the construction methods could be split into tiling, carpentry, mechanics, etc. Luo Feng had already researched and understood over 900 million ways to combine the engravings. He had completely grasped over 100,000 of them. As this was a completely foreign path, everything depended on Luo Feng's exploration. Hence, everything was difficult at the beginning. As he got started, Luo Feng's speed of grasping the combinations gradually increased. Immersed in the 8 great engravings, Luo Feng forgot about the flow of time. Time passed quickly. Tens of millions of years passed by. Luo Feng frequently studied the 8 great beast drawings, occasionally stopping to study the engravings and create new techniques. At the highest peak of the beast god world, the primogenitor frowned as he gazed below. Luo Feng had been the beast god world for 180 million years. As time passed, the primogenitor completely understood from Luo Feng's training process. Engravings training. This was a path that led to the highest path. This time I've failed. Mountain Passenger is indeed powerful. He actually knew of such a training method. He actually believed that his disciple would be able to succeed on this foreign path. The primogenitor also deduced that the engraving's training method, its weakness was that the foundation wasn't solid enough. Its strength was that one could occasionally get lucky and create a heaven-defying technique. The primogenitor's expression suddenly changed. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1089. It can't be. The ancestor was shocked as he gazed into the distance. Don't tell me he can comprehend the heart of the beast god like this? The plains were overgrown with weeds. A majestic, huge, horned lizard statue was half-crouching, almost as though it was ready to attack. And on the back of the golden beast god statue, Luo Feng was lying on a scale, squinting his eyes. In mid-air before him were countless complicated golden engravings flowing about. Even though it seemed like he was leisurely training for over 100 million years, in truth Luo Feng was in a special state. Over 100 million years, he had been studying the 8 engravings of the golden beast god. Every engraving represented a different aspect of the beast god. The 8 engravings. It made Luo Feng feel like he was studying every aspect of the beast god. Day after day, month after month, year after year, time passed. Luo Feng had always been studying the 8 engravings. Over the long years, it was almost like he was with the beast god. At this time, after 180 million years of studying the engravings, he suddenly forgot himself. At this time, it was almost like he was the beast god. Joy, happiness, rage, roar, madness, he roamed the universe. He fought with his enemies, fighting in the endless space. The battles continued on through the galaxies, until he finally fell unwillingly. Luo Feng laid there and closed his eyes, not moving at all. Everything was fake. The beast god was the real thing. After a long time, this sleep lasted for 1,000 years. In these 1,000 years, even his earth body and endless dark ocean were in deep slumber. No matter who it was, they had no way of contacting Luo Feng. In these 1,000 years, Luo Feng had forgotten his human memories. He had forgotten everything. In his slumber, he thought he was a beast god, living his life. 1,000 years passed quietly. Luo Feng opened his eyes. Is this Zhuang Zhomeng Dai? Luo Feng said softly. The moment he opened his eyes, he couldn't even tell if he was Luo Feng or the beast god. However, very quickly, he completely woke up. Over 100 million years of memories of being a human came flooding back, completely covering the memories of when he was a beast god. Beast god? What a mysterious feeling. Luo Feng laid on the back of the beast god statue. The feeling of being a beast god was so clear, he could easily enter that state. Beast deities and humans had completely different living conditions. A state of complete detachment, freedom, and freedom from nature. At the peak of the mountain, the primogenitor looked at this scene and shook his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. The final bottleneck of the path of the beast god, the hardest to comprehend and obtain heart of the beast god, was grasped by him just like that. According to the ancestor god sect, the path of the beast god was divided into 7 inheritances. After comprehending the way of the beast god, one would step into the level of a master of the universe and become a peak existence in the universe. However, how difficult was it to become a master of the universe? For example, the Golden Horn Beast lineage had only had 2 universe lords throughout the eons, while the Flaming Star Beast lineage only had 1. All of this meant that it was extremely difficult to become a universe lord. There were many checkpoints. One of the most elusive hurdles on the path of the beast god was that one had to comprehend the heart of the beast god in order to transform into a real beast god. This caused some of the universe overlords to be extremely puzzled. Like Herodo and many other universe overlords, they could only transform into pseudo-beast gods, because none of them had comprehended the heart of the beast god. Without a heart of the beast god, there was no way to transform into a true beast god. And Luo Feng's unintentional efforts had led to great success. Over 100 million years of studying the 8 great engravings, he had unknowingly fallen into a deep sleep, forgetting everything and spending a long period of time as a beast god. That's right. This Luo Feng has made such a name for himself in less than 100,000 years. In our beast god realm, he has trained for 180 million years. He has devoted himself to studying the engravings of the Golden Sky sect. Without any guidance, he has completely figured it out by himself and has already reached an extremely high level to be able to casually create a universe night level technique. Obviously, he is incredibly familiar with the 8 great engravings of the Golden Beast God. And these 8 great engravings completely represent the complete Golden Beast God. What's more, the Golden Horn Beast is the descendant of the Golden Beast God. It's the easiest for it to comprehend the heart of the Golden Beast God. Combining the two, it's normal for him to succeed. The primogenitor quickly understood. Everything was a matter of preparation. After all, Luo Feng had spent 180 million years on the engravings. With Luo Feng reaching the pinnacle in a few thousand years and creating the 3 ultimate techniques in a few tens of thousands of years, if he were to study the origin laws, he would have long reached the upper level night level in 180 million years, just to chase and defeat the primogenitor. Hence, Luo Feng didn't spend any effort on his origin law comprehension. His entire focus was on studying the engravings. This made his attainment in the engravings far exceed his comprehension of the origin laws. After all, he had only trained for tens of thousands of years. The engravings, however, he had trained for 180 million years. There was no way to compare. The primogenitor who had calmed down suddenly had a huge change in expression. He looked in disbelief at Luo Feng on the beast god statue in the wilderness. Even when Luo Feng comprehended the beast god heart, he didn't lose his composure like this. On the back of the beast god statue, after sleeping for 1,000 years, Luo Feng once again studied the 8 great engravings of the Golden Beast God. Using the miniature universe engravings as the final template, he attempted to create new techniques. After sleeping for 1,000 years, Luo Feng was still affected by the heart of the beast god. Hua hua hua. Countless golden threads floated in midair. It should be like this. Like this. Coincidentally, even Luo Feng himself didn't know the theory behind the 8 great engravings swiftly fused together. Other than a large portion of the origin law threads combining due to Luo Feng's good foundation, there were also a few that were purely due to Luo Feng's special state of mind. He did it as he wished without thinking at all. Just like the Golden Beast God drifting in the universe, everything was as he wished. If he wanted to kill, he would kill. If he wanted to eat, he would eat. If he wanted to sleep, he would sleep. Luo Feng was still confused and uncertain about how to combine them all. He did it as he wished. It was the most comfortable. Rumble. A golden light suddenly appeared between the land and skies. The golden light immediately swept through the land and skies, causing ripples and crevices to form in the extremely congealed space. Even the ground itself had a 10,000 kilometers long ravine from the ripples. In an instant, the entire land naturally changed, and everything returned to normal. I didn't use much god energy. Luo Feng was stunned as he sat on the back of the beast god statue. He gazed at the ravine that led to the end of the wasteland until it finally returned to normal. Technique? What level technique is it? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. He was powerful, reaching the pinnacle of undying in just a few thousand years. If he used this long 180 million years to completely study the origin laws, he could even reach the 6th or 7th level of the beast god path. He would use this long period of time to study the engravings. It was indeed very successful. Right now, he could easily create a universe night level technique, even accidentally creating a universe overlord level technique that was extremely powerful. However, in terms of power, it obviously couldn't compare to this golden light. Don't tell me it's the universe lord's ultimate technique. Luo Feng couldn't believe it. If he didn't train, he wouldn't know. After cultivating the school of arcane diagrams, he finally understood that although this school of arcane diagrams could occasionally rely on luck to create a set of secret arts, the more heaven-defying the secret art was, the less likely it was to rely on luck. 180 million years. Luo Feng's attainments in the engravings were already extremely high. He could easily create a Universe Knight level technique. The strongest he had created was only the Universe Overlord's ultimate technique. That was only 2 levels higher than his normal abilities. To create the Universe Lord's ultimate technique, according to Luo Feng's guess, he would probably have to study it for another few 100 million years. When he could casually create an Overlord-level technique, maybe he would be lucky enough to create the Universe Lord's ultimate technique. The higher the basics, only then could he accidentally create a stronger technique. As an artist, the stronger his own abilities, the better his inspiration would be. And without any foundation, no matter how much inspiration he had, he wouldn't be able to produce an absolute painting. Luo Feng's current basics were already extremely high. In the engravings, he could be said to be unparalleled in the universe. He was already considered a scholar, an ancestor. However, to create the Universe Lord's ultimate technique, that was still unbelievable. Is it the Universe Lord's ultimate technique? So, Luo Feng leapt up and flew towards a distant mountain range. On his shoulder lay the golden-horned beast. After flying for a while, arriving at the mountain wall, there were 3 engravings on it. They were all left behind by the space beasts and universe lords. These 3 were the universe lords' ultimate techniques. I'll carve the engravings of the techniques I created. One I know from the pressure. Luo Feng looked at the wall. His god energy surged. Immediately, an incomparably complex engraving appeared on the wall. Even many knights would find it like a heavenly book. If it was the Luo Feng of 180 million years ago, he wouldn't be able to understand it at all. The engraving was profound and profound. It emitted endless pressure. It resonated with the engravings of the 3 great universe engravings. It wasn't any weaker. Over 100 million years of hard work, along with the beast god heart. At a certain point in time, Luo Feng had casually created such a technique. It was a set of secret techniques that used the miniature cosmos secret pattern diagram as a template. It could be said to be a simplified version of the miniature cosmos secret pattern diagram. It was purely a near-perfect combination of the metal beast god and the 8 great beast god diagrams, forming a set of offensive secret techniques, the ultimate secret technique of the master of the universe. 100 million years of research and creation. The beast god heart. At a certain point in time, the 8 great engravings of the golden beast god were almost perfectly combined. Whether it was reasonable or not, it was born just like that. At the peak of the mountain, the ancestor gazed down. Simultaneously, he communicated to Mountain Guest in the primal universe. Mountain Guest, why aren't you coming over? P.S. 2 chapters completed. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Achidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1090. After a while, another expert appeared on the mountain peak, Mountain Sitting Guest. You summoned me here to treat me to a drink. Mountain Guest strolled over. The ancestor stood at the edge of the cliff, pointing afar. Look at your disciple. Luo Feng? Mountain Guest walked to the edge of the cliff and followed the ancestor's finger, looking at the distant Luo Feng in front of cliff. Looking carefully, he couldn't help but reveal a look of glee, following which he turned and laughed loudly. Old beast god, on the path of the 8 great beast gods, no one in the vast universe can match up to you. However, today, this disciple of mine used the 8 great patterns of the golden beast god to create this technique. Do you admit defeat? We haven't even fought yet. How can you say I lost? The ancestor said. You're still quibbling. Mountain Guest shook his head. The ancestor didn't continue on this topic, exclaiming, this disciple of yours is indeed powerful. Even though there's a bit of luck involved in creating this technique, but in a short 180 million years, without anyone's guidance, he managed to train the patterns to such a level. His attainment in the patterns is extremely high. Especially after comprehending the heart of the Golden Beast God, it's easier for him to comprehend the 8 great patterns. Casually creating a universe night level technique is extremely easy for him. If he puts in the effort and painstaking effort to create it, he can even create a universe overlord level technique. A true universe overlord would have to spend countless years to create a set of ultimate universe overlord secret techniques. From a certain point of view, even if the pattern school was good at creating techniques, that also represented Luo Feng's attainment in the pattern school. Even if he wasn't a universe overlord level, he was still an upper level knight. Heart of the Beast God? Mountain Guest revealed a look of glee, laughing loudly. What an unexpected surprise. What an unexpected surprise. He's the Golden Horned Beast, a descendant of the Beast God. His bloodline inheritance is very close to the Golden Beast God. Because of this, along with the long years of studying the 8 great patterns, he was able to comprehend the heart of the Beast God. The ancestor exclaimed, "To say it's luck is luck. To say it's not luck. If you think about it carefully, it's indeed not luck." Ha ha ha. Mountain Guest laughed loudly as he listened. "Look at how proud you are." The primogenitor shook his head helplessly. It was no wonder that Mountain Guest was so proud. His achievements in the secret technique school were a great reference for his comprehension of the laws. Luo Feng wouldn't have much difficulty cultivating to the level of an overlord of the universe, especially the Beast God's heart. It allowed him to walk on the Beast God's path even more smoothly. At the very least, one of the biggest hurdles between an autarch of the universe and a lord of the universe, the heart of the Beast God, had been resolved. Although it was still very difficult to become a lord of the universe, at least the chances were much higher. Mountain Passenger glanced at the progenitor and felt pleased with himself. How would you know that this disciple of mine has long since obtained an innate secret technique? It was precisely because he had the guidance of the most powerful innate secret technique, the mysterious pattern diagram, that he had an ultimate template, that he could better study the mysterious pattern diagram school. Even so, to be able to comprehend the heart of the Beast God in 180 million years and create the strongest innate ability was still a surprise. Mountain Passenger looked down, in front of the cliff far away. That huge engraving was comparable to the 3 sets of ultimate secret techniques of the Lord of the Universe. Done. It's actually the Universe Lord's ultimate technique. Luo Feng stood before the cliff for a while, staring at the scene before him. He still felt that it was too surreal. I've trained for 180 million years, and I've actually succeeded. The Universe Lord's ultimate technique. Luo Feng was very confident. However, the Universe Lord's ultimate technique, it was really a result of luck. Primogenitor. Luo Feng looked up fiercely, his voice booming and resounding throughout the land and skies. I challenge you. In the distance, the white-robed progenitor flew over, landing on the ground and smiling at Luo Feng. You challenge me? Yes. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. Even if he lost, he could still work hard and try again. After all, as long as he could defeat the primogenitor within 100,000 eras, it would be considered a success. What weapon will I use? Luo Feng asked. You use your hand. I'll use my human hand. How about that? The primogenitor raised his right hand. His body was purely formed. Hand? Luo Feng was slightly shocked, using his hand as a weapon. You've already comprehended the heart of the Beast God. Don't tell me you can't even use your hand as a weapon? The primogenitor asked. Luo Feng was shocked. The memories from his 1,000 years of slumber came flooding back. The Beast Gods roaming the universe. Their claws, tails, horns, they all contained the path of the Beast God. Even when they used spirit weapons, they treated them as part of the Beast God's body. At this time, Luo Feng felt the huge gap between close combat and spirit weapons disappear. The technique he created, he felt that he could easily use it in close combat, and easily use it on spirit weapons. Fighter, spirit reader, the same. Luo Feng was stunned. You've already comprehended the heart of the Beast God. You should comprehend this level. The primogenitor smiled. If you haven't comprehended the heart of the beast god, you'll have to focus on the fighter or spirit reader. After all, mixing the two will affect your comprehension of the heart of the beast god. And the beast god naturally uses its body to battle. Hence, the fighter is better at comprehending the heart of the beast god, finally becoming the beast god. Luo Feng nodded. The primal Chaos City leader had said the same before, telling him to focus on the fighter. However, during these 180 million years, his fighter and spirit reader path had been temporarily set aside. He had been training in the engraving path, accumulating and unknowingly comprehending the heart of the beast god. Do I still need to use my weapon? The primogenitor asked. The beast god can use its claws. Naturally, I can use my hand too. Luo Feng smiled. Make your move. The primogenitor stood there. Luo Feng gathered his energy and watched from afar, immediately using the Masha clansmen to battle. After all, the primogenitor suppressed his body to the same level. Hence, it didn't matter what body he used. Rumble. Luo Feng's body surface immediately had countless engravings revolving. His entire body became a glaring golden light and pounced at the primogenitor. At this time, Luo Feng felt as though he was in his 1,000 years of slumber. The beast god roared and pounced at his opponent. The beast god's simple pounce similarly contained the path of the beast god, and Luo Feng's pounce also contained the universe lord's ultimate technique. This pounce was ferocious and shockingly fast. Just the power of the universe lord's ultimate technique made Luo Feng even faster than when he used the Wu slaying wings. Luo Feng immediately reached before the primogenitor. His right hand became a claw, and his fingers had countless engravings revolving and fusing, immediately becoming a glaring golden light and clawing at the primogenitor. Pong! The primogenitor gently extended his hand, and the two clashed. The primogenitor floated backwards, seemingly floating. However, in truth, his speed was extremely fast. Ha! Luo Feng was extremely happy within. He felt as though at this moment he had completely merged with the beast god from his 1,000 years of slumber. Pounce! Claws! Legs like a tail, like a whip. Luo Feng's entire body was immersed in the golden light. Beast roars could be heard faintly. Fast, sharp, golden claw images flashed past, and the primogenitor was completely suppressed. Even though he resisted time and time again, as Luo Feng got more and more used to it, his entire being became like a beast god. Pong! His fingers were like horns. Chi! They pierced straight through the primogenitor's chest. The primogenitor looked down and smiled as he nodded. He immediately took a step back, and his body returned to normal. You win. Luo Feng, who was completely covered in the golden light, was stunned. He was stunned. Did he really defeat the primogenitor? Even though it was only suppressed to the same level, even though he could only unleash the universe lord pinnacle techniques, he was still the primogenitor. The feeling of defeating the primogenitor was really, really unreal. Thank you, primogenitor, Luo Feng said respectfully. From start to finish, the primogenitor had always focused on defense. Hence, Luo Feng was able to get stronger and stronger as he fought, completely understanding the beast god's battle style. No need to thank me. The primogenitor shook his head and smiled. I've already unleashed the universe lord pinnacle's strongest defense, yet I still wasn't able to block it. If I fought you right from the start, I might have won once. However, I believe if you continued challenging me a few more times, you would still win. Since that's the case, there's no need to delay. Luo Feng was even more grateful. Thinking back on these 180 million years, the benefits he had gained in the beast god realm were too great. The beast god heart was an unexpected gain. Engraving school, this was a brand new school that even had an ultimate universe lord technique. Huh! A loud laugh resounded. A silhouette flew over from above. Mountain Passenger looked at Luo Feng from afar. After 180 million years, this disciple of his had truly transformed. 180 million years ago, Luo Feng's training time was too short and his accumulations were too weak. He relied on the 9-level manuals to create his powerful body, huge body size, and his armor to stand amongst the strong. However, those were all the basics of the body, and Luo Feng's foundations were incomparably strong. But in terms of laws, secret techniques, and other techniques, he was far too weak. But now, it had reached an extremely high level and was stronger than many of the universe's overlords. His accumulations are already very solid, already able to unleash his accumulations. I believe this disciple of mine will be able to smoothly train all the way to the universe Lord level. Only stepping into the universe Lord level will make it difficult for him. Mountain Passenger was very satisfied. Flame Emperor's development ultimately disappointed him. Hence, he put all his effort into nurturing this third disciple. His third disciple didn't disappoint him. The laughter made Luo Feng and the primogenitor look up. "Teacher?" Luo Feng looked up at the silhouette flying over, stunned. "Mountain Passenger." The primogenitor laughed. "Don't get too cocky. It's your disciple's ability that's high, and don't forget, he has a golden horn beast body. His soul has long fused with the body. It's hard to tell if he's human or golden horn beast. If I say he's the golden horn beast, who can say otherwise? That's a matter between your Space Beast Alliance and the human race. It has nothing to do with me. Whether this disciple of mine is human or Space Beast Alliance or independent, I have no opinion." Mountain Passenger landed. Luo Feng went up and said respectfully, "Your disciple greets teacher." "HM." Mountain Passenger smiled and nodded, after which he looked at the primogenitor. "Don't forget the bet. P.S. Here's the first chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation." Chapter 1091. Luo Feng let out a look of anticipation when he heard this. The ancestor had told him before that the ancestor's wager was a treasure set, and his teacher's wager was a treasure. The moment the ancestor lost, then the ancestor would give the set to him. This was definitely a huge fortune. Since it could be used as a wager, it was obvious that this set was worth the same as a treasure. Calamity Armor was a treasure of the pinnacle. Sword River Net was a top-level domain treasure, and its attacks were extremely strong, comparable to the Calamity Armor. However, just its appearance, it had caused such a huge commotion when it was separated. Just like how the Flame Emperor couldn't bear to give the armor to Luo Feng back then. This all meant that treasures like the armor and Sword River Net were extremely valuable, enough to make the Flame Emperor and the Primal Chaos City leader envious. Probably only the strongest of the universe, like the Ancestor and Mountain Traveler, would have the guts to use it as a wager. You are one of the 9 great powers of the universe, the Ancestor of the Space Beast Alliance. You won't be stingy, right? Mountain Traveler mocked. "I'm still waiting for that treasure set of yours." The Ancestor glanced at Mountain Traveler. His heart ached. Even a being like the Ancestor felt his heart ache. Back then, he was extremely confident of winning that treasure. He didn't expect to lose in the end. "A loss is a loss." The Ancestor said, "I can still afford to lose this treasure set. According to our agreement back then, this set should be given to Luo Feng, right?" "HM." Mountain Traveler nodded and smiled. "Right, give it to my disciple." The Ancestor turned to look at Luo Feng. "Luo Feng." "Ancestor." Luo Feng said respectfully. He didn't think defeating the Ancestor once was something to be proud of. After all, that was just a wager. With the Ancestor's true power, just his words alone were enough to render Luo Feng helpless. If he was willing to pay the price, he could even kill a Universe Lord. "Look!" The primogenitor pointed at the sky, and a black shadow of a beast suddenly appeared in the distance. "HM?" Luo Feng looked carefully. It was a completely black beast. It had 4 powerful claws, sharp fangs that reached the sky, and a horn on its head. The layers of armor on its body seemed to have an endless amount of magic, causing Luo Feng to be completely captivated with just one look. This was simply beautiful to the point of being shocking. The black beast was around 100 meters long, and it landed right in front of Luo Feng. Only then did Luo Feng realize that it was a dead object and not a living being. This is the ultimate treasure set. I call it the Beast God Armor. Primogenitor walked over and caressed the leg of the huge beast. Ha ha ha. Mountain Traveler was delighted to see this and laughed. The ancestor glanced at him and turned to look at Luo Feng. Your teacher's pride makes sense. Back then, because of this set of treasures, the few sides were in a chaotic battle. Your teacher was very cunning, sneak attacking and immediately escaping. I had to pay a great price to defeat Ezekiel to finally obtain this set of supreme treasures. Luo Feng was a bit excited as he listened. The origin of the treasure was extraordinary. It was as if they had experienced a battle between the strongest people in the universe. This set of treasures is made up of a total of 526 treasures. They are split into 521 normal treasures, 4 high-level treasures, and 1 top-level treasure. The ancestor explained, like the fangs and scales, they can all be removed and used individually. Only when they are combined will they truly become one body. Their power is overwhelming. Luo Feng was shocked. 526 treasures made up of 1 set of treasures? It was said that the primal Chaos City leader's 1,000 treasure river was made up of 1,000 treasures, and Luo Feng's wasn't any different. Also, within the 526 treasures, there was even a top-level treasure. Once it's broken down, this horn will become a top-level treasure. And once it's combined with the power of the hundreds of treasures, its power will explode. The ancestor exclaimed, wearing this set on the body, every part of the body can be used to attack. It's definitely the most suitable for the universe lord to train in the beast god path. I named it the beast god armor. Originally, I wanted to give it to one of the universe lords in the Space Beast Alliance that I had high hopes for. The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. Now it's yours. Luo Feng felt his heart racing. Beast god armor. Thank you, ancestor. Luo Feng said respectfully. The ancestor smiled and nodded. Simultaneously, he waved his hand, and the black beast silhouette flew towards Luo Feng. A golden-horned beast appeared on Luo Feng's shoulder. At this time, the golden-horned beast had long placed the calamity armor, killing Wu Wings and 9 River within his world ring. Just like that, it flew over. Simultaneously, its god energy swiftly wrapped around the black beast silhouette, and its life imprint swiftly imprinted on it. Rumble. The black beast silhouette immediately disintegrated. The hundreds of treasures swiftly surrounded the golden-horned beast, completely infusing into every part of the golden-horned beast's body. The golden-horned beast immediately became a completely black beast. Every inch of its scales were like blades. Even its fangs expanded fiercely. The 5 horns on its head had now become 6. The middle horn was the longest, about half a meter long. At this time, the golden-horned beast was maintaining a 1-meter-long miniature god body. It's too beautiful. Luo Feng's consciousness cheered. Claws, tail, god body, horns. Treasures were everywhere. It was indeed the most suitable treasure for the beast god path. Moreover, the beast god's armor also possessed a defensive ability. Naturally, since it was mainly an offensive treasure, its defensive ability was slightly weaker. It was roughly comparable to a normal top-level defensive treasure. This beast god armor's original name is Northern Rock. Luo Feng was curious. The moment the life imprint was imprinted, the beast god armor transmitted an ancient message and learned of its name. What a weird name. Many treasures had names, such as Silver Dragon Phantom Ship, Golden Trembling Dragon King Armor, and so on. The only thing was that the user would usually name it himself, like the ancient boat Milky Way, Golden Armor, etc. However, this beast god armor's original name was very weird. It was called Northern Rock. No matter what the original name is, this beast god armor is indeed the most suitable for the golden-horned beast. Awesome. Owl. The golden-horned beast let out an excited roar. The ancestor nodded satisfactorily. Luo Feng, come here. Mountain Passenger shouted. Luo Feng obediently walked over. Mountain Passenger brought Luo Feng to one side and immediately changed the universe laws around him. If the ancestor wanted to listen, he could use the universe energies to suppress it. However, the ancestor didn't have to do that. Obviously, the mountain passenger had some things he wanted to talk to his disciple about. Teacher, Luo Feng followed beside him. To be able to succeed in a short 180 million years, not bad. Mountain passenger nodded. You're stronger than your second senior. Luo Feng listened obediently. Back then, I casually made the star map for you. It probably won't be of much help to you now. Mountain passenger said, however, it's not a big deal. Even though you're only at the pinnacle of undying, your attainments in the technique path are extremely high. Studying the origin laws from a high vantage point, you'll be able to break through to become a universe knight in a short amount of time. Even if stepping into the gate of a universe knight slightly affects you, 1,000 years is enough. Luo Feng nodded. He was very confident too. Studying the technique path made Luo Feng feel how easy the origin laws were back then. It was too easy and too obvious. However, due to the bet, Luo Feng didn't study it. When you step into the universe knight, even though you can only use the star pagoda, you'll be able to fully activate it. Mountain passenger said, when that time comes with the star pagoda, this star map will be useless. Luo Feng nodded. He couldn't help but ask, Teacher, is the 5th black metal board of the 9 calamities manual still training? The 3rd black metal board sent itself into the ice prison. The 4th black metal board sent itself into the beast god world. Nope. Mountain passenger glanced at Luo Feng and smiled. If you could guess my methods, would I still be your teacher? Luo Feng was shocked. In terms of training, the beast god world has given you enough training. 180 million years, you'll be able to create the universe lord's ultimate technique. With the technique path and origin laws, it's enough to verify each other. Mountain passenger said, then the 5th black metal board? Luo Feng really wanted to get the 5th black metal board immediately. You'll know when the time comes. Mountain passenger said. Luo Feng was helpless. Continue to work hard. Mountain passenger looked satisfactorily at Luo Feng. You're considered extremely strong now. Wait for the day you can use the star pagoda. Then no one in the universe can underestimate you. However, I hope you'll be even stronger. Yes, Luo Feng was looking forward to it too. In these 180 million years, he had been reborn. He was no longer the weak fighter from before, who could only rely on his divine body to burn and exhaust his enemies, slowly exhausting them to death. Exhausting an opponent to death could only be done in a dangerous place, because there was no way to summon the strongest from one's race. However, in Primal Star or other places, one could ask for help from other warriors in times of danger. After all, the absolute warriors, every one of them was important. Star Ancestor, Mountain Passenger turned and said, his voice resounding, allowing the distant ancestor to hear, Thank you for these few years. Now that you've reached my requirements, I'll bring him away. Don't be in a rush to leave, wait. The ancestor's body flashed and appeared beside him. Mountain Passenger looked at the ancestor. Anything else? It has nothing to do with you. I have something to discuss with Luo Feng. The ancestor looked at Luo Feng. He's my disciple. How could it have nothing to do with me? Luo Feng, for what I see, you should focus on staying with humanity. Mountain Passenger said and laughed loudly. Luo Feng, since this star ancestor has something to discuss with you, you should accompany him for a chat. I'll wait for you here. We'll return to the actual universe together. Yes, teacher, Luo Feng replied. Right? It's time to return to the actual universe. Mountain Passenger immediately walked into the distance. Luo Feng walked towards the ancestor and bowed respectfully. Ancestor, do you have any thoughts of leaving the human race? The ancestor looked at Luo Feng and asked. 2 chapters completed. Tomorrow is Saturday. This week on the 14th, both chapters were late, and the 15th was late once. Hence this Saturday, 3 chapters were updated. At the same time, pull down the monthly votes too. Monthly votes, why are there so few? Tomato looked 90 degrees into the sky. Why haven't the monthly votes dropped yet? Tomato really wants the monthly votes. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1092. Luo Feng knew that the primogenitor of the Space Beast Alliance had intentions of taking him in, but he didn't expect him to be so harsh. No, Luo Feng replied directly. What a joke. The human race treated him well, and after 100,000 years of development, the humans of Earth had already spread throughout the Ganwu universe country, merging into the big family. And the Luo family's roots had already extended to the various regions. Would he be able to leave the human race just because he said so? What about his parents and wife? Ah, I forgot that your training time is still short. The primogenitor was stunned, nodding. Your family and friends are still here. Luo Feng nodded. How about this? The primogenitor said, your golden horned beast will join our Space Beast Alliance, using the Gold Peak Knight identity you mentioned before. This won't affect your status with the human race. Just like on the Primal Star, you can use your human identity to seek help from the human race. You can also use your Space Beast identity to seek help from the Alliance. From then on, you will have two powers supporting you. However, similarly, Luo Feng said, there are two responsibilities. Joining a power, there were benefits. However, there were responsibilities too. Why did the primogenitor want him to join? Luo Feng naturally understood. The moment he stepped into the universe Knight level, along with his life genetic level exceeding 10,000 times, then his body would be close to the universe Lord level. Along with the universe Lord's ultimate techniques, along with the top treasures set, treasures etc., his battle strength would be extremely strong. The moment he stepped into the universe Lord level, he would be comparable to the pinnacle of universe lords like the Primal Chaos City leader. Plus, Luo Feng still had the mountain guest behind him. With such strength, how could he not be roped in? Right? Since the Alliance is giving you help, naturally you have to take responsibility. The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. The stronger the responsibility, what do you think? No problem. I can take responsibility. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Good. The primogenitor nodded satisfactorily. On the path of a strong warrior, having a backup plan was after all a good thing. The moment he was in danger, even if the Great Alliance couldn't help him, there was still the Space Beast Alliance. And Luo Feng had been to Space God Mountain once. Compared to the strict hierarchy within the human race, the Space Beast Alliance was even more like brothers. Just as the primogenitor and Luo Feng were discussing, Mountain Guest walked over. I didn't hear what you two said, but from your expression, Space Ancestor, it seems you've succeeded. Mountain Guest quickly walked over. Teacher Luo Feng bowed. Luo Feng, did this old guy give you anything? Said the mountain passenger directly. Vulgar and direct. Luo Feng was smart and replied, not yet. Mountain passenger immediately turned his head and glared at him. A universe supremacy with potential appeared in your race. Your Astral Beast Alliance will definitely bestow a universe treasure upon him, right? Why? My disciple, joining your Starry Sky Beast Alliance is a blessing for the Starry Sky Beasts. It also allowed the Alliance to have one more general. There isn't even a single treasure. Before, the primogenitor was stunned. Don't talk to me about the Beast God armor. You lost that. Mountain Passenger said directly, it wasn't given to Luo Feng by your Space Beast Alliance. The primogenitor was indeed helpless. The rule for the Alliance to bestow treasures was usually to a Universe Knight with potential. That was if the Universe Knight didn't have a treasure to protect him. Only then would it be bestowed. If they already had it, the Cosmic Beast Alliance wouldn't waste it. One had to make contributions to the tribe in exchange for it. And Luo Feng had a top grade set on him. Obviously, he didn't lack treasures. Ah, that makes sense too. Right now, Luo Feng is already at the pinnacle of the Universe Lords. Joining our Space Beast Alliance is something worth celebrating. The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, you should know that no matter which power, they all use contributions to exchange for treasures. And for those with potential, even if they were to bestow treasures, it wouldn't be too expensive. Luo Feng nodded. Just like Bark Mirror Emperor's normal armor, a free gift usually wouldn't be too expensive. Your Golden Horn Beast doesn't lack treasures anymore, and your human body is more suited for close combat. And I've heard that you've always used spirit weapons. I'll give you a high-level close combat weapon. The primogenitor said. Thank you, primogenitor. Luo Feng immediately said. Why wouldn't he want something that came for free? A high-level close combat weapon was already not bad. So stingy. Mountain Passenger muttered at the side. Mountain Passenger, I have the Space Beast Alliance and countless warriors to take care of. Unlike you, you're a lone wolf with no burdens. The primogenitor said helplessly, if you think my gift isn't good enough as his teacher, you should give me something better. Relax, my gift will definitely be better than yours. Mountain Passenger was intentionally watching the primogenitor make a fool of himself. The primogenitor was helpless. What close combat weapon do you need? The primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. Blade, Luo Feng said, it's best if it's this style. He pointed in mid-air. God energy emanated and formed a blood shadow blade shape. There's definitely nothing exactly the same. However, what do you think about this one? The primogenitor flipped his right hand and immediately teleported a treasure from another part of the universe over. The handle was completely purple-black. On it were complicated engravings. The blade itself was slightly curved. In terms of the blade and handle ratio, if the blood shadow blade was a one-handed blade, this blade was more like a two-handed blade, similar to the Zamadeo of China's history. The blade is very similar to the blade you need, only the handle is longer. The primogenitor said, not bad. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. This blade was even more malevolent than the blood shadow blade. Take it. The primogenitor smiled. The ancient blade immediately flew towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng extended his hand to receive it, his god energy permeating it. Simultaneously, a message was transmitted into his consciousness. This blade's name was Moonslayer. Moonslayer. Luo Feng grabbed the blade and casually slashed through space. Selah. There were faint marks in space, making Luo Feng even more satisfied. It was almost like the first time he used the blood shadow blade back on Earth. It made him excited. This is some information about the Space Beast Alliance. The primogenitor casually threw it, and a golden book flew over. Our Space Beast Alliance, other than the headquarters, the Star God Mountain, we have many other gathering areas. Every gathering area has a teleportation path to the Star God Mountain. You can leave a token at one of the gathering areas, and you can teleport there anytime, rushing towards the Star God Mountain. Also, if you have time, make a trip back to the Star God Mountain. At least you have to obtain the token of the Golden Horn Lord and Whirlpool Lord. If there's any danger, you can ask them for help. According to the rules, you are considered part of the Golden Horn Beast bloodline. The primogenitor said. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. The Space Beast Alliance was split into many bloodlines. The leaders of his bloodline were the Golden Horn Lord and the Whirlpool Lord. If there's nothing else, I'll bring Luo Feng away. Mountain Passenger said. There's nothing else. The primogenitor smiled and nodded. I'll send you back. It'll be faster. Rumble. In an instant, space warped. Two silhouettes suddenly appeared in the vast space. One was Luo Feng. The other was Mountain Passenger. We've already returned to the original universe. I've temporarily isolated the universe laws. Mountain Passenger looked at Luo Feng. In a while, the universe laws will sense your life genetic level change. It will cause your golden horn beast to evolve. The god body will explode. In a short time, it will reach the perfect god body level. It's very similar to the last time. Only this time, there won't be any natural talents or techniques. No natural talents or techniques. Luo Feng was stunned, a little disappointed. Right. Mountain Passenger nodded. The bestowal of the strongest natural talents and techniques is a chance encounter for every warrior that reaches the perfect life genetic level. Their consciousness will be drawn to the universe's core and receive the inheritance. This is the consciousness receiving the inheritance. Your consciousness has already received the inheritance once. There's no way for you to receive it a second time. Every life only has one chance. Luo Feng realized. Actually, it doesn't mean much to you. Mountain Passenger shook his head. One natural talent is already enough. What's more, you've already comprehended the universe Lord's ultimate technique. If you need more techniques, you can always create more in the future. Luo Feng nodded. When you can control the Star Pagoda, the power of the Star Pagoda is extremely strong. There's no need for the strongest natural talents or techniques. Mountain Passenger laughed. You can activate the complicated techniques within the Star Pagoda one by one. The more you activate, the stronger it gets. It's much better than any natural talents or techniques. Luo Feng nodded. Even though his own attainment in techniques was extremely high, the engravings on the Star Pagoda, from Luo Feng's current perspective, it was still unfathomable. The ultimate treasures were indeed not normal. If he were to be able to use the Star Pagoda in the future, just like what Mountain Passenger said, all he had to do was work hard to activate the techniques within the Star Pagoda, allowing the power of the Star Pagoda to be maximized. This is a tag. Mountain Passenger threw a tag that seemed to be carved from green stone to Luo Feng. Luo Feng received it. This tag has been specially crafted by me. It can be considered a normal treasure. If you want to contact me, send your consciousness into it, and I'll receive it. I will receive it immediately, Mountain Traveler said. Yes. Luo Feng replied. Return to your god country. In a while, your god body will explosively expand from 1,000 kilometers to 90,000 kilometers. You'll need a lot of energy, and this energy is what you'll need to prepare. Mountain Passenger said. Luo Feng nodded. He had experience too. The universe laws only allowed the god body to evolve. As for the energy required to evolve, it was indeed his own. The last time the ocean clone evolved, it absorbed world energy. Go, Mountain Passenger ordered. Yes. Luo Feng could already clearly feel his own god country. He could also feel his earth body's location. Immediately, his earth body sent an undying slave to activate the god country's teleportation and rush over. Wang, within the jade green god country's teleportation light, Luo Feng swiftly left. Luo Feng teleported 3 times within the space turbulence, swiftly returning to his god country. He could already feel the pressure of the universe laws. Rumble, howl. The golden-horned beast wearing the beast god armor stood in the air above the endless sea and roared. Pili Pala, its bones, horns, muscles, etc., all began to expand. At the same time, it began to absorb large amounts of god energy from the endless sea, causing the golden-horned beast to grow larger and larger. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1093. I sat in front of the computer for a long time, but I still couldn't write. Kavinka is very strong. I have to adjust my mood before writing again. I reckon that these 2 chapters will be published after 12 p.m. I'll inform you in advance so that you don't have to wait too late. You can read these 2 chapters tomorrow morning. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1094. The golden-horned beast stepped on the endless sea water and walked. Its claws were like pillars in the sky, tens of thousands of km tall. Its body was over 90,000 kilometers long. That scaled tail was completely comparable to the main body. The scaled wings seemed to cover the land and skies with a single flap, filled with boundless god energy. Every inch of his divine body was compatible with the beast god armor, a top-grade treasure. His natural scale armor had fused with the precious scale armor, and there were 5 small and 1 big horns on his head, a total of 6. And because of the beast god armor, it seemed even more ferocious. Perfect body, over 90,000 kilometers long. My god body is much stronger than before. Luo Feng was extremely excited. From now on, his natural talent, I am the universe, could be unleashed at any time. Within the miniature universe, his strength would definitely rise. Howl! The golden-horned beast raised its head and let out a satisfied roar. Everything is ready. It's time to find that Tian Hung. Luo Feng smiled. Back then, it was because I couldn't deal with Tian Tai the Night and felt weak. Hence, I used my clan contribution points to exchange for the domain treasure 9 Sea River, and also thought of ways to get the 4th black metal board. I didn't expect so many things to happen. His original plan was just to get the fourth black metal board and let the golden horn beast reach the perfect god body to unleash I Am the Universe. And now, things had gone even better than planned. The top treasure beast god armor, high-level treasure slayer, and his self-created universe lord's ultimate technique, with 180 million years of training in the engravings. Luo Feng was much more confident. It would be easy for him to deal with Supremacy Tian, Ho of the Machine Race, and snatch the other pair of wings from him. The problem now is, I have to find that Tian Hung. Luo Feng wore the Calamity armor and carried the Slayer blade on his back. The Wu killer wings spread, bringing the Golden Horn beast and many other clones from his world ring. He left the God Country and headed towards the Primal Star. Even though the few clones were heading towards the Primal Star, normal human warriors would form a clone to connect to the virtual universe. However, Luo Feng didn't have to, as the Endless Sea was Luo Feng's largest god body. It was also one of his clones. Through the virtual universe sensor, his consciousness could naturally connect to the virtual universe. Within the virtual universe, within the Great Alliance City, within the inner city, there was an outdoor bar for the Great Alliance Universe's knights to exchange information. Luo Feng slowly walked in. Luo Feng Blade River. Along the way, the other knights passionately greeted Luo Feng. Only when he was far away, they all blocked the surrounding discussions. Back then, when the Primal Star was about to open, many knights borrowed treasures from Luo Feng. I heard even Luo Feng's senior Guai knight went to borrow one. However, Luo Feng refused, saying he too wanted to go to the Primal Star. However, it's been open for close to 2 eras, and he's never been inside. If you're not strong enough, do you want to court death? He wasn't an idiot. Once he entered, he would be a walking treasure trove. Moreover, he had a huge reputation. Once he entered, he would definitely be targeted. Those outsiders would definitely surround and attack him. However, he had indeed handled this matter badly. If he didn't dare to enter, then he shouldn't have found such an excuse. If you really don't want to borrow it, just say that you don't want to borrow it. Yes, isn't it better to be straightforward? Forcing himself to say he wants to enter too? It's really... In this outdoor bar, thousands of Great Alliance's knights were gathered. When Luo Feng arrived, it indeed caused some discussions. However, they were all private. After all, Luo Feng was able to kill Bark Mirror Emperor at the Undying level. The moment he stepped into the realm of a knight, he would definitely become a universe overlord. No one wanted to offend Luo Feng. Izhou Knight. Luo Feng shouted. That strong and sturdy man with a triangular head carried a large wine glass and turned to look. He immediately laughed loudly, Blade River, and walked over. Sit over there. Luo Feng immediately walked to an empty table and sat on a huge chair. As the Great Alliance's warriors all had different body structures, even though these chairs were exquisite, they all had one thing in common. They were huge. Izhou Knight immediately sat down. Luo Feng casually ordered a fruit wine, and the Undying servant immediately served it. To be able to be a servant here was definitely a dream for many Undyings. That was because the normally hard-to-see knights could easily see them. If one's luck was good, they might even be able to form a relationship with one of them. Usually, they would also occasionally hear some secret information about the universe. Blade River, you're busy. You wouldn't come find me for no reason. Izhou Knight placed his wine glass down and laughed loudly. Speak. What's the matter? The surrounding sounds had long been blocked. Help me investigate a foreign knight. Luo Feng said. Who? Izhou Knight asked. Tian Hung Knight. Luo Feng said, I want to know news about this Tian Hung Knight, which primal planet he's at, and what coordinates he's at. The Automaton Universe Overlord Tian Hung Knight, the one famous in the universe with the 8 shuttle? Izhou Knight was shocked. Why are you looking for him? He's not to be messed with. Even though he's not as terrifying as some of the special life forms overlords, he's still one that's hard to deal with. You don't have to worry about that. Help me with something. Luo Feng said, the moment you receive this news, inform me. All right, a small matter. Izhou Knight nodded. Haha, thanks. Come, let's drink. Luo Feng raised his glass. He was just an endless sea consciousness entering the virtual universe. Naturally, he was relaxed. Following which, he casually chatted with Ijo Knight about the happenings on Primal Planet. In these close to 20,000 years, many things had indeed happened. As Luo Feng and Ijo Knight were drinking, they suddenly heard an angry roar. Ganwu, it's not that I'm forcing you. It's just that I was just killed on Primal Planet and revived by the Universe Lord through time and space. You have to know that reviving comes with a price. This time, the amount of contribution points I owe the race has reached 3 treasures. My long years of accumulation have all been given to the race, yet it's still not enough to make up for the debt I owe the race. I'm still lacking a little. The treasures you owe me, I didn't force you in the past, but now. An angry voice resounded. Many of the knights in the bar looked over. Luo Feng and Ijo Knight looked over too. Luo Feng frowned. In the distant corner sat 2 warriors. One was an angry purple-skinned knight with a silver scalp, and the other was the Ganwu country leader. The Ganwu country leader, too, had an awkward expression. Looking around, he blocked the sound and continued to advise. Block what? Why do I have to block it? The foreign knight once again broke through the barrier and raged. Ganwu, we've known each other for trillions of years. You owe me. I know it's not easy for you. I've never asked for it. But now that I'm in such a situation, I've rushed you, yet you keep delaying. You really make me. The Ganwu country leader sat there, his expression ugly. That foreign knight saw this and gradually lowered his voice, no longer raging. What's going on? Luo Feng frowned. Is it still because of the revival through time and space? Ijo Knight shook his head and sighed. Reviving through time and space goes against the universe laws. Hence, every time, even the Universe Lord gets injured. Just like that foreign knight may leave from before. He's an upper-level knight of the universe. You know this. Reviving a Universe Lord requires the creator of the huge axe to act. Luo Feng nodded. Yes, even if the Primal Chaos City leader were to revive a Universe Lord, the backlash would be enough to kill him. Reviving an upper-level knight will cause the Universe Lord to be injured, and it won't be a light injury. Ijo Knight exclaimed. The Universe Lord will be injured every time he acts. The price he has to pay every time he acts isn't small. Just like that Supremacy Mayor who died in the primitive star and was resurrected, she owed a total of 3 treasure points. This is equivalent to an ordinary treasure. Normal supremacies simply can't pay it back and can only rely on a long period of time to slowly repay it. As for the Ganwu country leader, he's even worse off than Melee Knight. Worse off? Luo Feng frowned. Ijo Knight said. 1,008 universe country leaders, they're all extremely ancient knights. Luo Feng nodded. Right, ever since the universe countries reached 1,008, humanity hasn't created another one. The main reason was because they didn't have enough territory. Obviously, to be able to occupy the position of 1,008 universe country leaders, they were indeed extremely ancient knights. Living for so long, it means their potential has more or less been excavated to its peak. Ijo Knight shook his head and sighed. Over the countless years, the Ganwu country leader has fallen 3 times, and all 3 times he's revived through time and space. However, the price to be revived is very high, especially when he fell on the Primal Planet once, losing all the treasures he borrowed. The other 2 times, even though he didn't lose any treasures, he did lose some sets and treasures. Luo Feng sighed within as he heard. Right, 1 death, 1 treasure lost. If he really dies, then so be it. However, after he revives, those who borrowed his treasures back then will definitely demand it from him. Ijo Knight said, what he owes the race can be slowly returned. He won't be forced too much. However, what he owes the other warriors, he will often be demanded. It's not easy for the other warriors to even have 1 treasure. The Ganwu country leader, after being revived through time and space 3 times, he owes a total of 6 knights, and also owes the race. Ijo Knight was helpless. It'll be hard for him to make a comeback, unless his strength rises greatly and he steps into the universe Lord level. However, he's trained for so long and still hasn't stepped into that level. To think about it, difficult. Actually, those ancient country leaders, even if they had the ability to split themselves, they wouldn't dare borrow treasures to go to the primal planet or any other dangerous place. They're afraid of not being able to return even after death. Unless one has the strength or ambition, only then would they dare borrow treasures. The current Ganwu country leader has been staying in the Ganwu universe country to train for a long period of time, managing the country and nurturing the younger generations. This is also a way to earn contribution points. Even though it's very slow, there's no danger. Or he can go to a less dangerous universe secret region. Izhou Knight said, falling to such a state, he can only be considered unlucky. However, this is in our human race, with universe lords time and time again. If it's in a weak race, if he dies, he'll really die. Hence he's considered lucky, dying 3 times and reviving. Luo Feng turned to look. The Ganwu country leader and Mei Fu Knight were conversing, obviously trying to calm each other down. P.S. The 2nd chapter has ended. Tomato will continue writing the 3rd. To be continued. If you like this work, please Kamachidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1095. After a while, Mei Fu Knight left. Only then did the Ganwu country leader leave. After all, staying here was embarrassing. Luo Feng watched this scene silently. The Ganwu country leader was lucky? Unlucky? Luo Feng couldn't judge, but he could tell the Ganwu country leader was in a terrible state. Izhou Knight, I'll leave the search for Tian Knight's news to you. Luo Feng chatted with Izhou Knight for a while before standing up. Haha, the moment there's news I'll inform you. It's a small matter. Izhou Knight said. Luo Feng then vanished in midair. Virtual Universe, Thunder Island, Mid-Mountain, within the Ganwu country leader's palace. He was walking alone in the walkway. Eyebrows creased as though he was deep in thought. He was indeed annoyed. He didn't expect his peaceful days to be broken once again. The 6 knights he owed were all on good terms with him, and they didn't force him. The peaceful days made the Ganwu country leader forget about his terrible days. However, today he was really in a terrible state. The Ganwu country leader slapped the stone pillar beside him. It shook slightly, and some rubble fell. Ganwu. A voice resounded. The Ganwu country leader turned to look. In the distance there was a silhouette flying over. With one look, he smiled and welcomed Luo Feng. It's been a long time since I've been here. Luo Feng smiled. Your training time has been short, yet your improvement is extremely fast. This time is naturally precious. The Ganwu country leader smiled. Come, sit over there. He immediately led Luo Feng to an open-air table not far away. Immediately, there were servants serving good food and wine. The two sat facing each other. Little Hai hasn't caused any trouble lately, right? Luo Feng said. No, he's quite talented and hardworking. The Ganwu country leader smiled. If it wasn't for me forcefully suppressing him, he would have long become undying. Luo Feng nodded. His son Luo Hai had trained for over 100,000 years. Along with the resources he provided, it was enough to make even an emperor-level undying jealous. With Luo Feng's current position, even the lowest talent would be able to rely solely on resources to become undying. Much less Luo Hai's talent was not bad. He had always treated his father Luo Feng as his goal. It's good to stay in sector lord level. It's best to reach emperor level in law comprehension before breaking through to undying. Luo Feng said. Yes, this is also my plan. The Ganwu country king nodded. Out of my family, only this little Hai makes me worry. Luckily I have you as my teacher. Luo Feng laughed. For example, his eldest son, Luo Ping, and his wife, Su Xen, were both in the family's old nest, while his father, Luo Honghua, and his mother, Gong Xine Lan, had been playing virtual games for a very long time and had never gotten tired of it, going to many virtual worlds. Luo Feng's resources for his parents weren't soft at all. Even though his parents didn't put in much effort, they had unknowingly reached domain Lord level 9. If they put in a little more effort, they would have long become sector lords. Of course, only parents, wives, sons, and younger brothers had access to such resources. The Luo family had hundreds of millions of people, but everything else had to be done according to the rules. No matter how many resources they had, they couldn't keep up with the crazy consumption of countless people. They had to follow the rules. Among Luo Feng's closest relatives, only his youngest son, Luo Hai, has been roaming the world with his father as his goal. This made Luo Feng worry. Fortunately, this was because Luo Hai had been in the Ganwu dojo for a long time and was even taken in as a direct disciple by the founder of the Ganwu dojo, the Ganwu Country King. Luo Feng looked at the Ganwu Country King. He indeed owed the Ganwu Country King a favor. When he had just emerged as a genius within the human race, the Ganwu Country King had taken good care of the Luo family. As he got stronger and stronger, the Ganwu Country King spared no effort, even going so far as to personally save Luo Hai. And now he had even become Luo Hai's teacher. From start to finish, the Ganwu Country King hadn't asked for Luo Feng's help at all. Instead, he had been helping Luo Feng. How could Luo Feng not remember this favor? Hence, he came over. Ganwu Country, I've seen what happened in Great Alliance City before, Luo Feng said. The Ganwu Country King's expression froze, after which he shook his head and sighed. Greedy, greedy. The Ganwu Country King shook his head and sighed. If I hadn't been greedy and wanted to recoup my losses the first time I fell and was revived in time, then I wouldn't have taken the risk to borrow treasures and head to the primal star. That time of greed, my final fall, made me owe the race and treasures and a top-level set of treasures. It was that time that my losses were the greatest. Falling 3 times, and it's like this. The Ganwu Country King shook his head. Wanting to head to the primal star, if I'm not careful, I'll fall. The moment I fall, the price will be huge. If only I had the ability to clone myself, that would be great. Luo Feng nodded within. With the ability to clone, one could send a clone over. Even if the clone were to fall, it could slowly recover. And there was no need to reverse time and space to revive. This way, the price was very small. I'll think of a way to return it. My good friends even transferred a portion of their contribution points to me. I've finally returned the treasure I owe. The Ganwu Country King said. Even though I've returned the treasure, I owe many of my good friends. As for what I owe the race, it's been accumulating till now. I don't know which era I'll be able to return it all. Greedy? If I wasn't greedy and didn't take the risk after falling once, but slowly accumulated, at least I'd be able to recoup all the losses. It wouldn't be too late to take the risk again. The Ganwu Country King shook his head. Luo Feng understood. The race wasn't a place for charity. Even though they would help the race members, they still needed the strong of the race themselves. Enjoying the benefits of the race and contributing to the race, this was the norm. If the Ganwu Country King continued to owe the race like this, he would only owe more and more. Luckily, the race wouldn't force him. How much do I owe? Luo Feng said. The Ganwu Country King was shocked. Looking at Luo Feng, he had some guesses and couldn't help but feel excited. Was this moving treasure trove, Luo Feng, going to help? I owe the 6 universe lords. The least is a few hundred points, the most is 2,000. The 6 added together, it's a total of 6 points. The Ganwu Country King said. As for what I owe the race, it's a total of 2 points. Luo Feng was shocked within. Vicious. No wonder he couldn't pay it back. 8 points was enough to exchange for 2 to 3 normal treasures. Even the universe overlords usually only had this much. And the Ganwu Country King actually owed so much. Of course, Luo Feng didn't really care. He had acquired a treasure armor from killing Bark Mirror Emperor, after which he killed the universe overlord Li Jian Knight in the Danger Grounds. He acquired 2 more treasures, of which the God Blade was a high-level treasure. As of now, Luo Feng had the Pagoda Pearl, the Star Map, the Wu Killer Wings, the 9 River, the Golden Vibration Ho Emperor Armor, the Godly Blade and Armor of the Flying Sword Knight, the Top Treasure Beast God Armor, the Pinnacle Treasure Calamity Armor, the high-level Treasure Blade Moon Slayer, and the extremely powerful Treasure Star Pagoda he was about to get. The quantity was high and the quality was high. Of course, the best three were the Beast God armor, Calamity armor, and Star Pagoda, of which the Calamity armor and Star Pagoda came from Mountain Guest. The Beast God armor set was lost to Luo Feng by the primogenitor. The best three belonged to the strongest experts in the universe. And with Luo Feng's methods, it wouldn't be hard for him to acquire more treasures. The strong would always be strong. This was the logic. I'll lend you one. 6 points. Luo Feng said. As for what you owe the race, it's up to you. 6 points. The Ganwu country king felt every cell in his god body cheering and roaring. He was so excited he was boiling. Over trillions of years, he had always owed his 6 knight friends. How painful was that? Especially after being scolded by Mei Yu Knight this time. He could only bear with it. As a universe knight, he valued his face a lot. However, against the scolding of his friends, he could only bear with it. However, from today onwards, all of this was gone. Luo Feng. The Ganwu country king was so grateful he didn't know what to say. At this time, he received the notification of 6 points. Also, there was a message from the race urging him to return the points. Of course, the Ganwu country king wasn't in a rush to return the points. After all, the race wouldn't make him lose face. I can only help you this much. The rest is up to you. Luo Feng stood up. This favor of yours is really, The Ganwu country king couldn't help but laugh. Sorry, I forgot myself. This pressure has been weighing on me for countless years. Today, it's finally gone. I'll slowly return the points to the race. Luo Feng nodded. The Ganwu country king had helped his family a lot. This time, he was returning the favor. Helping him with 6 points was enough. What he owed the race would also give the Ganwu country king some pressure. I'll make a move first. Luo Feng immediately vanished. The Ganwu country king stood there, his eyes gleaming. Ha ha! The Ganwu country king suddenly raised his head and laughed loudly. His laughter was bright and clear, resounding throughout the entire palace. It made the servants from the Ganwu country king look at each other. They had never heard the Ganwu country king laugh so happily, so willfully. The Ganwu country king immediately transferred the points to his 6 friends. Ganwu, you're actually returning the points? Where did you get them from? Ganwu, I didn't do it on purpose in Hongmeng City before. I was just too anxious. Where did you get them from? If there's really no other way, there's no need to mess around. It's fine to drag it out for a while. I can hold on. The 6 knights all contacted one by one. The Ganwu country king's mood was great. He chatted with the 6 knights. The pressure has dissipated. The Ganwu country king felt incredibly relaxed. Simultaneously, he exclaimed within. This Luo Feng's improvement was indeed unbelievable. In a blink of an eye, he had casually transferred 6 points to him. In the universe space, in the pitch-black space, there was a blurry space whirlpool. Heading to the primal star number 02818, Luo Feng stood in space and gazed into the distance. On his back was a pair of silver wings. The armor on his body was silver too. On his back was the mountain beheader blade. The last time I sneaked in, no one knew I had entered the primal star. In Hongmeng, many knights were discussing, saying that it was just an excuse for me to head to the primal star without borrowing the treasures. That's right, I should go in as a human. Alien race tyrants, the human moving treasure trove has arrived. Luo Feng took a step in space and entered the huge space whirlpool, following which he was transported to the primal star. P.S. 3 chapters completed. Today, I've been busy until 4 at night. I won't be able to update tomorrow afternoon. I'll have to update tomorrow night. Taking a leave of absence won't count as late. Wahahaha. I can finally sleep in. I'll also get my monthly votes. I'm so close to first, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1096. On the vast land, there was a continuous mountain range that stretched as far as the eye could see. Above this mountain range, there was a spatial vortex, and a silver-winged, silver-armored young man stepped out of it. He stood in midair and surveyed his surroundings. Silence. According to the information I've obtained, the probability of treasures appearing in the first few hundred years of the primitive star's opening is higher, and the experts who have been suppressed for countless years are more excited. There was more killing. However, during the majority of the 1000 eras, the strong warriors were all in hiding. There wasn't a chance for them to hide. Luo Feng's wings flapped, and he broke through the skies. Flying high in the sky, he looked down. Although it was a different primitive star this time, there was not much difference between the 10,081 primitive stars. After flying for about half an hour, Luo Feng was still flying above the mountain range. However, with a glance, he saw a purple object on a lake. He immediately dove down and stepped on the surface of the lake, heading towards his target. Luo Feng picked it up. This was a purple cloth that was about 3 m long and wide. It was extremely light. Luo Feng immediately infused a thread of God energy into it, and after it recognized him as the owner, information flooded in. This was a precious treasure, and its name was Imitation Purple Dawn Sky. With the control of the Void Transformation God Force, the purple screen could instantly expand and could completely envelop the opponent. It was an extremely powerful treasure. Even though it was just a treasure, this kind of cloth-like treasure, it was Luo Feng's first time seeing one, and he could feel that this treasure was definitely one of the top spirit weapons. Copied from Z. Chintian, Luo Feng muttered to himself. His real name is actually like that. How weird. Could it be that there's an even more powerful treasure called Purple Dawn Sky? However, why was the treasure born in the original star named Imitation Purple Sky? Luo Feng felt the mysteriousness of the universe. Even though he was already standing at the pinnacle of the universe, there were still many secrets he couldn't understand. This treasure is probably worth a few hundred treasure points. My luck is pretty good to be able to obtain such a great treasure as soon as I arrived. Luo Feng laughed. Primal Star was like that. If you were lucky, you could step on treasures just by walking. Many warriors knew there were many treasures in Primal Star. However, similarly, there were many warriors gathered here too. No matter how many treasures one could obtain, if one were to be killed, it would just be a gift to another expert. He was strong. Only then could they dominate the primitive star. Like Luo Feng, he no longer feared the overlords of the universe. As for the Universe Lord, this was a primal planet. The Universe Lord had no way to teleport. If the Universe Lord descended, Luo Feng would have long received the news through the virtual universe. Naturally, he would stay far away. With Luo Feng's current terrifying abilities, the Universe Lord's ability to control space itself really couldn't do anything to him. Luo Feng felt like he was taking a stroll in his own garden, leisurely strolling on the primal star. He was waiting for his chance. His endless underworld ocean body was connected to the virtual universe and waiting for news from Tian Heng. The moment he received it, Luo Feng would naturally rush over with his fastest speed. Luo Feng had been on this planet for the 29th hour. The sky was dark, and within the vast forest laid a huge life form. He looked like he was carved from a massive purple crystal. He had 2 heads, and the armor on his body was faintly discernible. He just lay there, waiting in silence. An absolute warrior of the Purple Blaze race, moving alone on Primal Star, proved his strength, an overlord of the universe. There were a few energy life forms that weren't afraid of soul attacks. Like the Purple Blaze race, they were one of them. They didn't fear soul attacks and liked to stay close to the ground. Many races sat while training. However, the Purple Blaze warriors trained while lying down. Dense Light Lord laid there. One of his 2 heads had its eyes closed while the other had its eyes open. This state was the Purple Blaze race's alert state. Both of his heads opened their eyes simultaneously. Through the gaps between the leaves of the forest, he locked onto the distant human silhouette in the sky. It's a human? The misty light suzerain stood up quietly. Silver wings? That appearance. His 2 faces were filled with shock. This appearance. Isn't it the legendary absolute genius Luo Feng? This, right? Treasure wings, how is this possible? Even though this absolute genius killed Bark Mirror Emperor, He's after all only an undying. In terms of battle strength, he's only an intermediate knight. And on Primal Star, any random warrior has at least an advanced level knight's battle strength. The moment he saw Luo Feng, Dense Light Lord's heart indeed burned with passion. After all, the Purple Blaze race was one of the countless races of the Northern Border Alliance. The Bark Mirror Emperor that Luo Feng killed was from the Northern Border Alliance. The warriors of the Northern Border Alliance were naturally very familiar with Luo Feng's basic information. Moreover, the universe is trillions of races. Many well-informed super experts had long since deduced that this undying, peerless genius had at least 6 supreme treasures. Soul-type treasures, spirit weapon treasures, wings treasures, armor treasures, and at least 2 treasures from the ancestral god sect. At least 6 treasures. This was definitely more than the wealth of many universe overlords. And there were soul-type treasures that even the universe overlords would be jealous of. Plus, Luo Feng was weak, only an undying. He was simply a walking treasure trove. The Northern Border Alliance had even discussed that if Luo Feng were to enter Primal Star, he would simply be giving treasures to the other races. It all depended on who was lucky enough to meet him. However, the races all believed Luo Feng wouldn't be stupid enough to go to Primal Star. And from the reports of the past 20,000 years, Luo Feng indeed hadn't entered Primal Star at all. He's actually here, and I didn't receive any news before this. Am I the first to discover him? Dense Light Lord's 2 heads looked up at Luo Feng flying high in the sky. He's a rare, absolute genius of the human race. He shouldn't be so stupid as to put himself in danger. He was burning with passion and excitement, but also vigilance. This Luo Feng dared to come. He must have some sort of life-saving method. However, Dense Light Lord hesitated for 3 seconds before swiftly making his decision. He's an undying. Even if he has life-saving methods, don't tell me he can kill me. To kill me, it'll at least be a universe lord. He can't possibly have a universe lord hiding in his world ring, right? Dense Light Lord laughed within. Who cares what life-saving methods he has? At most, he can't threaten me. The opportunity is right before my eyes. A walking treasure trove. Killing him, I'll get at least 6 treasures. When that happens, I'll be able to return to the Alliance to exchange for a high-level armor. Dense Light Lord thought. He didn't need the legendary soul-type treasures that Luo Feng had. Because he was a life form of the Purple Smelter, he could only use them to exchange with the Alliance. I can't miss this opportunity. To be able to discover him first. It's luck. If I miss it, I'll regret it for a trillion years. A ferocious glint flashed across the 2 heads of Blurry Light Overlord. So, he began to fly and accelerate noiselessly. First, he sped through the forest. At this time, Luo Feng was flying high in the sky while surveying the land below. His speed wasn't too fast, allowing Dense Light Lord to quickly catch up to him. Luo Feng flew in the sky. At the start, he indeed didn't notice Dense Light Lord. However, as he flew out of the forest towards him, naturally he could see him clearly. However, the distance between them was already very close. Human. Dense Light Lord rushed into the sky. His purple crystal skin glowed bewitchingly. His 2 heads locked onto Luo Feng. His eyes gleamed, obviously filled with killing intent. Luo Feng gazed below and frowned. Northern Border Alliance's Dense Light Lord? Luo Feng swiftly recognized him. Against the Dense Light Lord rushing up from below, Luo Feng placed his hand on the hilt of the mountain beheading blade on his back and immediately pulled it out. Die! Dense Light Lord's 6 arms simultaneously grabbed a crescent moon. As the distance between the 2 swiftly closed, rumble, the surroundings swiftly entered the time domain. The domain affected Luo Feng slightly. Dense Light Lord used this chance to ignite his god energy and unleash his killer move. To deal with a legendary undying like me, he has to go all out, Luo Feng thought, suddenly using the origin law domain to kill. These universe tyrants aren't easy to deal with. Hua hua hua. Suddenly, countless lights appeared in the surrounding land and skies. almost like countless stars twinkling. However, every light was filled with killing intent. Countless beams of light swiftly enveloped Luo Feng, attempting to kill him. Luo Feng watched this. The mountain beheading blade in his hand was still very stable. Dense Light Lord's ultimate move. Dense Light World? Luo Feng nodded. I'll use you to test my 180 million years of achievements. Against the incoming killer move. Luo Feng, who had long ignited his god energy to maintain his peak condition, finally moved the mountain beheading blade in his hand. In an instant, the blade's blade was covered in dense origin law engravings. The engravings were intricate with a shocking beauty. As the blade was swung out, it triggered the universe's gold space origin laws. Still resisting? The full power of a universe tyrant's move. Even if you have a normal armor, you'll still fall. Accept your fate. Dense Light Lord's expression changed. That's right, a resplendent gold light. Ice cold, sharp. In an instant, the golden light slashed through the endless light. The unique skill of the lush light overlord was crushed like a joke in front of this move. The cold golden light slashed on the lush light overlord's divine body armor. Its power was far beyond the limit of an ordinary supreme treasure armor. As a result, the supreme treasure armor could only weaken half of the attack, leaving the rest of the impact to the lush light overlord's divine body. Roar! A distant, faintly discernible roar resounded in the ears of the blurry light overlord. Dense Light Lord was stunned in mid-air, following the inertia. Following which, without a sound, his body was completely destroyed, vanishing like air. All that was left was a floating black armor and 6 randomly flying lights. Luo Feng stood in mid-air, revealing a smile as he watched this scene. Author's note. Here's the first chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1097. The floating black armor and the 6 flying scimitars turned and flew back to him under Luo Feng's godly energy control. It's just an ordinary supreme treasure armor. 6 normal weapons should be part of the set, equivalent to a high-level weapons value. Luo Feng kept the treasures and summoned the distant world ring. This was the world ring that fell to the ground after the Light Lord fell. Luo Feng checked it. There were only a few tins of treasures and other items within. Their value probably couldn't even compare to a normal treasure. After killing the Light Lord, Luo Feng collected his spoils. And even though his human god body's energy consumption to use his strongest move was huge, with the ocean clone's replenishment, he could still maintain his peak condition. So, Luo Feng's wings flapped, and he became a beam of light flying away. His speed was neither fast nor slow, maintaining his sublight speed. The surroundings were silent. There was no movement or traces. No one could tell that a universe overlord had just fallen here. The Northern Border Alliance controlled an incomparably large territory. In the space where the Zai clan lived, on a completely dark red life planet, there was the Light Lord's Shrine. The shrine wasn't big. However, it was still considered one of the sacred lands of the Zai clan. The Zai clan had a total of 6 universe overlords. The universe overlord were already the strongest beings of the clan. Hence, the entire clan was split into 6 territories, with the 6 overlords managing and nurturing them. Within the shrine, a few disciples and servants looked respectfully at the distant silhouette. It was the clone that the Light Lord left behind after heading to the primal planet. The clone was extremely weak. However, it was after all the consciousness of the Light Lord. It could definitely guide the disciples and deal with some matters. The Light Lord's face revealed a look of fear. Pung. It immediately dissipated. Leader, teacher, the 3 disciples, and some personal servants who were waiting in the distance were shocked. The starry space around the planet was sealed. Even the bright light overlord couldn't teleport away. But why did the clone suddenly vanish? Don't rush. The teacher must have encountered something extremely important that required his full strength. Hence, he retracted his consciousness, and the clone naturally vanished. Let's take a look at the token he gave us. Let's look at the token. The three disciples immediately took out their tokens. The keepsake was an item fused with the life mark of the light overlord. It was like a treasure that recognized its master. Once it was crushed, the light overlord would sense it and come to save the disciple. The token has become an ownerless item. A shrill voice came from the throat of one of the disciples. The two heads spoke at the same time, and it sounded even colder. Ownerless item. Mine has also become an ownerless item. The three disciples of the Zai clan looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with fear and panic. They knew very well what this scene meant. There were two ways for an item to become ownerless. The first way was for the owner to personally retrieve the life imprint. The other was that the master was killed. However, Lushlight Overlord wasn't here, so he couldn't take back the mark. There was no doubt about the answer. The bright light Overlord had fallen. Hurry up and notify the other lords. Quick, right now. Inform the higher-ups of the clan. The Zi race had a total of 6 universe overlords. These 6 universe overlords supported the entire race. The fall of one was equivalent to the collapse of one of the pillars of the race. This was a very frightening blow to the Zai race. Moments later, the 3 Zai race universe overlords who hadn't gone to the primitive star rushed over. They first asked the disciples of the bright light overlord in detail before sending them away. Inside the palace, the 3 purple crystal two-headed life forms were standing. The atmosphere was tense. Bright light has fallen. Who could have killed Bright Light? He didn't even have time to ask for help. Bright Light had an ordinary treasure armor, and his attacks were even stronger. Killing him, could it be a lord of the universe? Even if it wasn't a lord of the universe, it must be one of the most powerful universe overlords. The 3 universe overlords were silent, right? The bright light overlord, Geofeng, Pei Feng, Palace Master Divergent Blood, and the others were all normal universe overlords. However, there were still some who were heaven-defying. For example, there were some universe overlord level special life forms that were 8,000 or 9,000 times stronger. Their god power was 100 times purer than ordinary universe overlords. Even if it was the same attack, the power would be 100 times stronger. In addition, these heaven-defying universe overlords would obtain even stronger treasures. Their combat power was indeed very strong. Coupled with their huge god bodies, even if they met a lord of the universe, they could hold out for a long time. Entering the primitive star means the danger of being killed. We can forget about it. An existence that could kill bright light like that is not someone our Zai race can provoke. Yes, the 3 universe overlords nodded. We have to apply to the Northern Border Alliance to revive Bright Light. Bright Light is a universe overlord. To revive him, only the Alliance leader can do it personally. Everyone knows the Alliance leader's temper. I'm afraid we have to wait until the Alliance leader is in a good mood before reviving Bright Light. Universe low-level venerables, mid-level venerables, high-level venerables after dying, they would usually be revived not too long after. At most, they would be delayed for tens of thousands of years. But it was hard to say for universe overlords, because in the entire Northern Border Alliance, only the Alliance leader could revive universe overlords. The other universe lords could not do it. If the Alliance leader was delayed for hundreds of millions of years, no one would dare to say anything. Don't worry about it. Apply to the Alliance and wait. Yes, when Fengguang revives, we'll know how he died. Asterisk, 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 the primordial star was the closest to the origin of the universe. Flying above the primordial star felt wonderful. Luo Feng smiled as he flew, recalling the battle from before. This is the first time I've used my full strength in a battle. I didn't expect it to be this powerful. Luo Feng was extremely satisfied with this power. However, it's indeed the ultimate technique of the Universe Lord. The amount of God energy used up by this move is extremely ridiculous. If it wasn't for my Serene Ocean clone constantly replenishing it, I'm afraid that one move would have taken away half of my God body. Back in the Beast God world, when Luo Feng fought the Primogenitor, he didn't even ignite his God body. With an undying body, Without igniting, he wouldn't expend any god energy no matter how he fought. And in that life or death battle earlier, Luo Feng ignited his god body. Palace Master Qi Shui and Venerable Si Jian would consume a lot of energy when they used their ultimate moves. And Luo Feng's Universe Lord ultimate technique, Golden Light, was much higher level than Qi Shui Palace Leader and Qi Jian Knight's techniques. Luo Feng didn't even purposely use his energy. The amount of energy this Golden Light absorbed was already more than half of Luo Feng's god body. Of course, the Serene Ocean clone swiftly replenished it. The consumption was huge. Its power was ridiculously strong, too. Too strong. I can feel that his normal armor is extremely weak under my blade. If my attacks were stronger by another level, this treasure would probably be destroyed. Luo Feng thought. 9,800 times his life genetic level, 100 times his god energy amplifier. This made Luo Feng's god body definitely not weaker than a normal universe tyrant. Even unique life forms like the World Tree and Frost Whale in the ancestral god secret region were universe tyrants with strength comparable to universe lords. Their god energy was only 2 levels purer than Luo Feng's. However, Luo Feng's universe lord ultimate technique was 2 levels stronger than the World Tree and Frost Whale. The advantage of the technique made up for his lack of god energy. In terms of battle strength, the moment Luo Feng unleashed his Universe Lord ultimate technique, he would be comparable to a universe tyrant that was so powerful. His armor was too weak, it only weakened him by half. Of course his body would be destroyed. If it was a high-level armor, I'd probably only be able to heavily injure him. To kill him, I need a few more moves. Luo Feng thought. From this, one could see how important the armor was. With the Calamity armor, even Universe Lords didn't have many attacks that could reach the limit of the Calamity armor. 180 million years of cultivation is indeed a great achievement. Luo Feng nodded satisfactorily. His deep attainments in the engravings made it extremely easy for him to train in the space laws. Even though he had only left the Beast God realm for a few days, the final mystery of the space laws, strangulation, had already been comprehended by Luo Feng. Now he only needed to combine teleportation, sealing, and strangulation into one, and he would be able to step into the Universe Night level. However, this last test slightly affected Luo Feng. Just like some warriors with extremely high attainments in the space laws would be affected by the final level of the gold laws. Luo Feng's current attainments were extremely high, but he too was affected by this level. Like what Mountain Guest said, he could break through at any time. No matter how slow he was, he would at most need 1,000 years to step into the Universe Night level. Once I become a Universe Knight, my body will be comparable to the World Tree and Frost Whale, and my techniques will be even more powerful. When that time comes, I'll probably be able to truly fight against Universe Lords. Luo Feng anticipated within, and I'll be able to use the Star Pagoda even more then. Luo Feng smiled and continued flying. He was waiting for the next alien race like the Blurry Light Leader to kill him. Come, I'm a moving treasure trove. Luo Feng smiled. Look, that's a human Luo Feng. In one of the hills of the wasteland, the 3 high-level sovereigns from the Thorn Ring Alliance were hiding. They were silently waiting for the energy ripples. However, amongst them, Ji-Chi's sovereign looked up in shock at the sky and immediately transmitted anxiously. Luo Feng, what Luo? You're talking about that lucky human punk. The other 2 knights looked up fiercely. The 3 of them carefully identified him. Silver-armored, silver-winged, black-haired human. It's him, the human Luo Feng. That's him. He has at least 6 treasures on him, and he's definitely got a soul-type treasure, maybe even a flying palace-type treasure. He actually dares to come to Primal Star. Does this absolute genius think he's invincible? He dares to be so arrogant. Arrogant is good. This is basically a human moving treasure trove. Be careful. This human Luo Feng might have something to rely on. What reliance? Even if there's a Universe Lord secretly protecting him in the World Ring, so what? The surrounding weeds and grass covered their silhouettes. The three of them looked at the silhouette flying through the sky, their hearts burning with passion. We have to succeed. Our strength is far stronger than his. However, the moment he escapes and flies at light speed, we won't be able to catch up no matter what. I have a plan. We definitely won't let him escape. The shortest and sturdy four-hooved alien communicated. The other two knights listened carefully. 2 chapters completed. Monday. Monday, begging for recommendation votes. Brothers, send me the recommendation votes, asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1098. The four-hooved alien communicated. The 2 other knights beside him listened carefully, finishing the entire plan in less than a second. Even though they were conversing secretly, they were all staring at Luo Feng, who was flying in mid-air. That was their prey. This was much easier than fighting for any of the treasures. Go! The moment the four-hooved alien gave the order, he was suddenly shocked. Rumble! Rumble! In the distance, there were 2 silhouettes swiftly flying towards Luo Feng from 2 different directions. With the vision of the four-hooved man and Ji Qi, they could naturally see clearly one of the 2 silhouettes flying towards Luo Feng as beams of light. One of them was over 100 meters tall and had a total of 10 claws. The fur on its body almost covered its knees, and its one jade green eye was filled with killing intent and greed. And the other alien was like a human-shaped bug, extremely skinny. Its hands, however, were like blades. He got there first. Ji Qi Knight stared hard. It's the Northern Border Alliance, our plan. The other knight said anxiously. The four-hooved alien roared. Don't worry about the plan. Hurry and make your move. Rumble, rumble, rumble. 3 beams of light swiftly rose from the ground and headed straight for Luo Feng. This scene made the distant 2 knights of the Northern Border Alliance panic. The Beast Knight with drooping fur roared. It's those bastards from the Thorn Ring Alliance. We discovered this Luo Feng first. Don't let them get him. It's definitely ours. The skinny alien knight bared his teeth, emitting an endless, ferocious aura. Luo Feng, however, was the calmest, flying neither fast nor slow in mid-air. One after the other, a foreign knight flew towards him from both directions. Northern Border Alliance's Knight Kubai, Tyrant Shio Knight. Luo Feng could tell with a glance. The Tyrant Shio Knight's body is huge, much bigger than the Busy Light leader I killed before. The Busy Light leader was over 10 m tall, while he was over 100 m tall. However, he probably doesn't have any armor. Killing him in one move should be enough. In terms of defense, if he didn't use any techniques to block, just using his body to take it, the Universe Tyrants didn't have much of an advantage over the Universe's high-level sages. They usually relied on their treasured armor. Normal armors were enough for a normal Overlord fight. But if they were to meet a Universe Overlord like the World Tree, Frost Whale, or Venerable Purple Rain, normal armors wouldn't be enough. They would need the protection of high-grade armors in order to not be killed in one move. Of course, if one's god body was over 1,000 kilometers long like the golden horned beasts, relying on its size, even in normal armor, will be able to survive for a while longer. If his divine body wasn't big enough, and he didn't have a high-grade supreme treasure armor, he wouldn't be able to survive. Against the pinnacle of the universe tyrants like World Tree, Ice Whale, Purple Rain Knight, and Luo Feng, that was suicide. Of course, no one on the Primal Star knew of Luo Feng's strength. The only one who knew was the Blurry Light leader had already fallen. In their eyes, Luo Feng was a human moving treasure trove. Another 3? Luo Feng's gaze swept. It's the Thorn Ring Alliances. Ji Qi, Chu Ka, and Swift Eagle. They are all high-level universe venerables, no threat. Rumble. Luo Feng's wings flapped, and he became a beam of light, his speed soaring as he swiftly escaped. He's about to escape. Don't let this human Luo Feng escape. Quick, that direction. The Northern Border Alliance's Ku by Night and Tyrant Shio Knight were panicking. Even though they weren't afraid of the 3 from the Thorn Ring Alliance, they were after all 3 of them and only 2 of them. Along with the fact that the difference in strength between them wasn't huge, any two of them would be able to hold them off. Luo Feng's human moving treasure trove would probably be snatched away by them. Chase! Quick! Let's split up and surround him. Ji Qi's honorable, the four-hooved being, and the other three Thorny Ring Alliance's honorables immediately split into three different routes. They wanted to flank Luo Feng from both sides and chase after him. The three of them kept increasing their speed. Wang, the time and space law domains all descended, madly obstructing Luo Feng. Trying to escape? Haha, human Luo Feng, you come into Primal Star as suicide. Kobai Knight laughed savagely. A ring suddenly appeared in his hand, and he waved it fiercely. Hua! The ring swiftly grew. Under the control of the godly energy, it flew at light speed towards Luo Feng. Its speed was shocking. The three from the Thorn Ring Alliance were panicking. However, the Northern Borders Knight had a spirit weapon. They couldn't do anything about it. No problem. That Luo Feng has a spirit weapon, Ji Qi Knight said expectantly. As the three of them left later, they were slightly further away from Luo Feng. They were at a disadvantage. Right, Luo Feng has a spirit weapon. Want to capture me? Luo Feng roared angrily. Hua! Luo Feng waved his right hand. Stars swiftly flew through the air. Over 1,000 stars were covered in a blur of origin law engravings. Under the control of the godly energy, they swiftly formed a huge beast god. The beast deity raised his head and roared, then charged towards the ring. The beast god's tail swung fiercely, becoming a beam of light. It was extremely fast, immediately whipping the ring that couldn't dodge in time. The ring was whipped into the distance. Under the control of Kobai Knight, it swiftly flew back, trying to get past the beast god. However, the beast god once again viciously whipped it away. Indeed, a spirit weapon. Its power is huge. Kobai Knight gritted his teeth. Ha ha ha, you can't escape. The largest god with a body covered in hair, Tyrant Xiao Knight, let out a powerful roar, heading straight for Luo Feng. Luo Feng immediately turned. The three universe supremacies of the Thorny Ring Alliance also approached from three different directions. High in the air, the five knights were madly surrounding Luo Feng, and Luo Feng was like a prey that had fallen into a trap, madly struggling and running, occasionally controlling his spirit weapon to block the enemies. Rumble, rumble. The clashing of the spirit weapons created a huge commotion, spreading in all directions. There's energy ripples. They're fighting. It must be a top-level set or treasure that's about to appear, causing the fight. Let's hurry over. On this primal planet, as the ripples spread, it immediately attracted the warriors from far away. Luo Feng was still like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bow, frantically running around, using his spirit weapon time and again to block the attacks. Quickly, stop him. Thorn Ring Alliance. The commotion from this battle has already spread, even though the other foreign knight teams are further away. As time drags on, I'm afraid the other teams will follow the energy ripples and rush over. When that happens, it won't just be a fight between us, it'll be a huge, chaotic battle. We won't get anything out of it. From what I see, how about we work together? Tyrant Xiao Knight communicated. Bastard. The three from the Thorn Ring Alliance were extremely anxious too. However, Luo Feng was simply too agile, using the Wu Killer Wings to change his speed and accelerate extremely quickly. And with the spirit weapon obstructing him time and time again, they were unable to form an encirclement. No matter what they did, they couldn't stop Luo Feng. Of course, there was another reason. The Thorn Ring Alliance and Northern Border Alliance weren't united. They didn't want the other to catch Luo Feng, hence the delay. All right, let's work together. We'll work together to kill Luo Feng. As for the treasure, it'll depend on our abilities. The four-hooved foreign knight communicated. All right, Tyrant Xiao Knight agreed. They wouldn't say 50-50, that would be a lie. Both sides were from different factions. If they believed 50-50, that would be a joke. The five from the Thorn Ring Alliance and Northern Border Alliance officially worked together, working together and blocking Luo Feng from all directions, constantly pressuring Luo Feng. causing him to have less and less room to maneuver. And the Knight Baiku and Jiqi Knight had their spirit weapons to obstruct him. This caused Luo Feng to fall deeper and deeper into danger. Rumble. A golden wave suddenly appeared in the sky and land. The wave rumbled, engulfing a diameter of 30 million kilometers, completely enveloping the 5 knights within it. It's a domain. It's a domain treasure. Not good. We can't catch him. He's escaped the encirclement. Jiqi Knight was anxious. The power of the domain's obstruction isn't strong. It should be a domain treasure. And it's not even considered an absolute treasure. Quick, catch him. Suddenly falling into the endless waves, the 5 knights of the North Border Alliance and Thorny Ring Alliance were shocked too. They ordered Luo Feng to escape from their encirclement. However, they quickly discovered that the Golden Wave's resistance wasn't that strong. It wasn't even comparable to a top-level domain treasure. If it was a domain treasure, its value would be even higher than normal treasures. The resistance isn't strong. Catch him. The 5 knights gave their all to surround him. Even though the resistance wasn't strong, it still made things much easier for Luo Feng. Within this domain, he dodged and dodged to buy time. Ha, look, it's the human Luo Feng. It's the human Luo Feng. Quick! There were 3 teams flying over from different directions. From afar, it was hard to make out the silhouettes within the golden waves. However, the madly fleeing Luo Feng, even though they couldn't see him clearly, through his treasured wings and spirit weapon beast god, they swiftly made a judgment. The human Luo Feng has actually come to Primal Star. Look, it's the Thorn Ring Alliance, and the Northern Border Alliance's Tyrant Xiao and the others. No wonder they're madly surrounding him. It's the human Luo Feng. Hurry and go. Luo Feng has at least 6 treasures, especially 1 soul treasure. Quick! There were a total of 8 universe supremacies among the 3 foreign race teams that rushed over. Soon, they charged into the Golden Wave. Within the endless 9 Precipice River, Luo Feng seemed to be in a difficult situation. However, he was very calm within. Another 8 have arrived. They're from the Demon Alliance, 9 Regions Alliance, and the Bug Clan Alliance. 7 Universe Upper Level Knights. There's even a Universe Overlord. Luo Feng nodded within. Adding up to a total of 12 Universe Upper Level Knights, 1 Universe Overlord. It's time to close the net. Luo Feng, who had been using a portion of the 9 Precipice River's power, finally went all out. Rumble. His burning god energy madly poured into the 9 Precipice River. Simultaneously, the gold lot domain descended and completely merged with the 9 Precipice River. Rumble. The golden wave that initially had little resistance suddenly became ferocious, at the same time thickening, almost as though the stream water had turned into a strong glue. The resistance immediately increased by 3 levels, making it extremely difficult for the 12 Universe Upper-Level Knights to fly. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1099. The 9C River flowed majestically and floated within 10 million kilometers of space. Under Luo Feng's extreme activation of his god energy, especially with his current level of attainment and techniques, the engravings of the 9C River were easily broken through and completely activated to its maximum. One could only see the vast power and pressure. With Luo Feng's genetic level being 9,800 times and his god energy amplification being 100 times, as well as fully activating the 9C River. If the 9C River's 9 beasts worked together, they could easily destroy an intermediate level knight. Even if they split up, they could still heavily injure him. If one fell into it, even an advanced level knight would find it hard to fly or move. Treasure. It's a domain treasure. That human Luo Feng hid his strength earlier, hiding the power of this treasure. Jiqi Honorable communicated to Chuka Honorable, who was very close to him. Chuka Honorable tried his best to move towards Jiqi Honorable. However, he felt that his speed was ridiculously slow. He too communicated anxiously. That human Luo Feng. Why did he hide the power of his domain treasure? If he released it earlier, he could easily escape from us. However, he didn't. What is his goal? Ji-Chi Knight and the Four-Hooved Knight were panicking within. The Nine-Sea River's power suddenly exploded, making them feel that something was amiss. It's a trap. It's definitely a trap. We have to hurry and leave this domain. Our flying speed is ridiculously slow in here. If there's a strong enemy, he can easily destroy us one by one. Quickly leave. Even though they didn't have any confidence, taking a risk in a place like the Primal Star, these knights were all on high alert. Only earlier when they saw the human Luo Feng, they were all blinded by greed and madness. Now that they felt something was amiss, even though some of the 13 knights were still unwilling and greedy, trying to find the human. However, most of them decided to hurry and leave. In the center of the Nine-Sea River, Luo Feng spread his wings and stood there quietly. He clearly knew the movements of the 13 knights within the Nine-Sea River. They're starting to panic? They're indeed very cautious. It's a pity it's too late. Luo Feng grabbed the saber on his back and gently pulled it out. The cold blade didn't have any resistance in the Nine-Sea River water. Instead, it was like a fish in water. Because this was Luo Feng's domain. Rumble. Beside, a completely black golden-horned beast floated beside. The golden-horned beast is killing outside. I'll be killing inside. We have to not let a single one escape. Luo Feng said softly. Beast God transformation. Wah, wah. Luo Feng and the golden-horned beast simultaneously changed. The golden-horned beast's foreclaws became even thicker. Its head too began to change. Other than its two wings, it was almost like a golden beast god. The human Luo Feng too underwent a change. His godly body grew a little taller. Scales began to appear on his skin, and his eyes glowed a dark gold. Although his divine power amplification had reached the limit of 100 times, under the beast god transformation, he could use the heart of the beast god to slaughter more freely. Slaughter! Begin! Luo Feng made his move, heading straight for the strongest trapped within the Nine Ghost River. The Universe Overlord Zhongzhan Knight. Zhongzhan Knight was the calmest amongst the group of aliens trapped within the Nine Ghost River. He came from the Bug Clan Alliance. Even though he wasn't from the Bug Clan, he still had an extremely high position. It was all because of his strength. He specialized in close combat and was extremely strong. His soul's natural defense was extremely strong. His only weakness was his small body. His height was only 0.8 m. Hence, he placed a lot of importance on his body's defense. The most precious thing on him was that high-level armor. I've been tricked. Feeling the Nine Ghost River's power explode, Zhongzhan Knight immediately understood. It's a trap, purposely using this human Luo Feng as bait to attract the aliens closer. That human Luo Feng's world ring definitely has a universe overlord level being hidden within. This isn't good for me. I need to leave quickly. Zhongzhan Knight wielded a huge blade, immediately breaking through the layers of obstacles and flying. His speed was the fastest. Zhongzhan Knight creased his eyebrows. He could feel the aliens getting closer. Even though he felt it wasn't good, he wasn't actually afraid. He didn't think a universe lord-level being would be hidden within Luo Feng's world ring. If it wasn't a universe lord, normal universe overlords wouldn't pose much of a threat to him. Humanity's most terrifying universe overlord, Tian Shi Palace leader, hides within the human secret region, rarely showing himself. I've never heard of the star-held demon lord coming to the Primal Star. Other than the 2 or 3 most powerful universe overlords, the human universe overlords are nothing to fear. Zhongzhan Knight's thoughts flashed. A ray of golden light that was so beautiful that it could shock venerable Zhongzhan's soul lit up. This ray of golden blade light streaked across the waters of the Nine Precipice River, and although it seemed slow, it directly arrived in front of venerable Zhongzhan in an unparalleled manner. Venerable Zhongzhan's eyes widened, and in shock and anger, he swung the large blade in his hand with all his might, using his most powerful ultimate technique, Destiny's Adjudication. Pung! The huge blade was immediately flung away, rolling about in the golden river water. Cold, sharp, poignant. This golden blade didn't seem to weaken at all as it sliced right into Zhongzhan Knight's body. Zhongzhan Knight was filled with fear. What blade technique is this? This is more terrifying than any other universe overlord I've met in my long life. This blade technique was already beautiful to the point of shock. It completely represented the pinnacle of a path, the pinnacle of an origin law. The power of this saber strike directly reached the limits of this high-grade Supreme Treasure Armor, causing the Supreme Treasure Armor, which was originally capable of reducing the force of impact by 1/10,000th, to merely reduce the force of the attack to 1,000th. In an instant, Zhongzhan Knight's body was damaged by 62%. This caused him to be filled with fear. Even with my high-level armor, I still lost over half of my body. Not good. Zhongzhan Knight knew that he would definitely die from the next blade, and at this time, the beautiful golden blade flashed once again. Quickly flee. Zhongzhan Knight communicated through his god energy, his voice piercing out. Under the saber light, venerable Zhongzhan's dwarf-like divine body was instantly annihilated, leaving only a light purple and exquisite Supreme Treasure Armor floating in the air. As for the World Ring and the Great Saber, they had long been tossed into the distance. I only needed 2 slashes to kill him. Looks like under my Universe Lord's ultimate technique, the moment those Universe Tyrants have high-level armor, they'll be able to take it head-on, and this is with a small god body. If it was as big as the Golden Horned Beast, I probably wouldn't be able to kill it even with 1,000 slashes. Luo Feng swiftly realized his weakness. His blade technique was already extremely strong. However, it had only just exceeded the limits of a high-level armor. A high-level armor could still give the enemy extremely strong defense. Panicking? Then let's continue. Luo Feng wielded the blade. His wings flapped, and he drew an arc, heading straight for another high-level knight. Yes, panicking. When Sovereign Zhongzhan, the strongest of the 13 foreign race sovereigns trapped in the 9-kiln river, knew that he couldn't escape after receiving a blow, he sent out a shrill voice transmission. This instantly caused some of the foreign race sovereigns who were secretly worried to go crazy. Quickly flee. It's a trap. Even Zhongzhan Knight can't block it. Quickly flee. It's a beast, huh? A piercing scream transmitted through the god energy as a medium within the 9-precipice river. Rumble. The shockwaves of the battle rumbled over. Compared to Luo Feng's blade's coldness and efficiency, this golden horned beast was even crazier and more unstoppable. Following a faint roar, the malevolent black beast god golden horned beast lowered its head at high speed, the longest horn on its head fiercely smashing into Honorable Ji-Chi's body. Honorable Ji-Chi's eyes widened in fear, and then his god body was completely destroyed. With just 1 top-level armor, he had no way of blocking the Golden Horn Beast's attack. It's a trap. That human Luo Feng is bait. There's a powerful overlord. He's much stronger than Zhongzhan Knight. He's slaughtering us, quickly. Damn humans. All sorts of mad howls and roars of unwillingness resounded. However, wielding the saber, the beast god Luo Feng flew coldly within the Golden River, after which he walked towards the other warriors, waving his saber. Under the beautiful golden light, the high-level warriors fell one after another. Most of the warriors didn't even have normal armor. They couldn't stop Luo Feng at all. Luo Feng was killing from the center. The Golden Horned Beast was killing from the outer perimeter. Not a single one of the foreign race knights could escape. One had to know that within 9-kiln river, the high-level knights were already ridiculously slow. The only one that could fly at high speeds, Zhongzhan the Knight, was the first to be killed. This group of foreign races already had no more hope. The number of outsider venerables trapped in the 9-ghost river continued to decrease. 8, 6, 3, 2, 1, and outside the vast expanse of the 9-precipice river. Due to the earlier commotion caused by the 5 knights chasing Luo Feng, it had attracted the attention of the other foreign race knights who were slightly further away. A total of 6 squads of them were already watching from afar. These 6 squads, a total of 15 of them, one of which was a universe tyrant. Trap! Bait! Quickly flee! The shrill voice was transmitted through the divine power and spread out in all directions. The 6 pairs of 15 alien venerables who were watching from afar were shocked. They were all watching from afar. However, the water of the 9 precipice river was too thick. They couldn't see clearly. However, they could feel the movements within. At the start, there was a huge energy movement, along with screams and roars of unwillingness. Human Luo foam. Bait. It's a trap. Universe overlord. However, after a while, it all quietened down. A deathly silence. At this time, the 6 pairs of alien venerables in the distance felt a chill in their hearts. They knew that all the alien venerables trapped inside were dead. Hua hua hua. The 9 precipice river gradually calmed down. A silhouette appeared in the center of the golden river. He carried a blade on his back, wings on his back, black hair, looking at the 6 teams tens of millions of km away. At that moment, none of the warriors made a sound. P.S. 2 chapters completed, damn. I'm late on Monday. Looks like I'll have to catch up on Saturday again. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation.